Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 234. We got a bunch of things to go over tonight because we did have that Nintendo Direct. We had the Switch Online getting two new systems, actually, one not even from Nintendo. And then I know MVG, you were curious about this, and I thought it was such a weird announcement that we would touch on it, that being the Initiative and Crystal Dynamics, because that was very strange, actually, yesterday. It ended up blowing up into a bigger story than I thought it would. So we can go over all of that tonight. Let me go over to our guests though first. We have Wood from Beat 'em Ups. Wood, how you doing tonight?
Good. And hello, chat. Everyone's saying hi. That's so nice. Thank you.
Yes, don't break any switches over there. How many switches died?
That had to come up immediately, did it? Couldn't wait 5 seconds, literally. No broken switches. I actually have an update on that, but I'm saving it for my podcast.
Oh, that's right. You had you sent it in, right, to get some
yes,
get some work done to it. Okay, good. So we can talk about that on your podcast then.
Yeah, you're coming on mine.
I'm going on the podcast. Is that live or is that recorded and then posted?
That is
later?
live. Yeah, that's live.
Oh, okay, cool. So you can update people, but that's happening soon, right? Next
Monday.
Days. Okay, Monday. There you go. Monday, I'll be on Wood's podcast. It'll be a lot of fun. You guys should come by.
Thank you.
It'll be a good time. Then we have MVG.
Hey, what's going on? Great to be here.
Good to have MVG here. And then we have Sean, RGT85, who, hey, got some stuff right this past week.
Hey, it's about time.
Got some stuff wrong as well because you deleted Kana.
Hey, we'll talk about that. Twice I deleted it.
You deleted it twice. Then we have Jordan Fringe.
What's up? Glad to be here.
Good to have Jordan here. We got Evan.
Yep.
And we have
Man of the hour. Oh. This is still the man of the hour.
How are you doing, Miss Click? Click finished up Kana. You finished it up yesterday? Today?
Yeah, there's some of us with coordination in this podcast.
Yikes.
I finished it too.
No spoilers. I haven't deleted mine yet.
I finished Kana and I finished up Deathloop. And Deathloop was exceptionally disappointing at the end. So
really?
Yeah, the ending's kind of stupid.
Damn.
So yeah, prepare for disappointment on that one. And then we have Nate the Hate. Nate, what do you want? Yes. Go ahead and let the people know.
I was shown an adorable video earlier today by VG Mobster of his 4-year-old daughter singing the Cruisin' Blast theme song. And that just shows you the pure bliss that game is capable of delivering for gamers of all ages.
I thought you were going to let people know that you were right about Nintendo 64 games.
He's prioritizing.
Yeah, Cruisin' Blast gets top billing.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah. So Nintendo 64 games that was announced. Like I said, we'll go over the Direct as well. Click, did you want to talk about Kana? Because Sean had a whole thing with this, and it seemed like there was some clashing thoughts on this one.
Do we want to go into it right away?
Sean, go ahead. Explain to the people why you deleted this game not once but twice.
I love just about everything with the game. I think it's beautiful. The story is kind of the voice acting I don't think is all that great either. But I think it's a really good game.
9 out of 10.
However, I do not like the combat whatsoever. I don't necessarily think the combat is bad. I'm not saying that, but for whatever reason, the combat just doesn't click with me, and I think it has to do with the blocking. For whatever reason, I guess because you have to like hold it down, I would always tap it, and it was just something that in my head I couldn't wrap my head around it, and I couldn't get used to it, and I just kept getting frustrated, and I was just like, you know what, I got other shit to play. Not a bad game at all. I think it's a really good game. It's just not a game for me. Something about the combat, I can't get into it.
Damn.
That's all it was.
I like the voice acting.
It sounds like children, like
I
weird.
thought the voice acting was cute.
They're literally children.
Okay, but I do want to say one thing. I find it very, very, and you could clip this, I don't give a shit. I find it very ironic how the diehard PlayStation fans on my timeline are just sucking this game's teat like it's the greatest thing ever. Yet if this came out on a Nintendo platform, it'd be like, ugh, look, another kiddie game, another stupid kiddie game. Like, come on, let's have some consistency with that. Like, the whole vibe of the game is very for a younger audience, except the combat, because the combat is just frustrating as hell.
Except for the
good, though.
combat because it's hard.
It's good. The reason I didn't review it is because I knew I wouldn't be able to do the game justice if I can't get into the combat.
2 months from now, comes to the Switch.
Okay,
Sean's like,
No, hell no.
There's a lot of different
Just like-
avenues to go down there, Miss
Listen,
Click.
I gotta know, Sean.
Just
how
like Fall
far-
Guys.
Sean, how far did you get into the game?
I played about 3.5 hours, I would say. It was the boss at behind the dude's house that I played it a couple times and I was just like, it's not clicking.
That's not even. Wait, that's
for
not even
me,
a boss
I'm
though.
Yeah, it is.
Which
Behind
which
the
one?
house.
they have like sub boss, like mini
Yeah,
bosses.
this was
and
a
they have,
full-on
big
boss. Yeah, this was a full-on big boss.
A health bar and everything came up.
Yes,
before,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
okay, yeah.
For the
3.5
first map?
hours in, you were halfway through the game.
No, I
took
was taking my time with it. I was exploring.
Yeah,
a lot.
it took. I ended up spending about 10 hours in the game because I was searching around for some of the rots as well to try to level up to like level 5 and all that. At least that's just what the timer said for me at the end. It's about 10 hours to be.
It's not bad. It's not a bad game. I'm not trying to discredit it or anything. I just did not like the combat.
In your defense, I'm really enjoying the game, but the combat isn't good. It's very clunky.
You know what this
Oh
game?
my-
It's
you know what it reminds me of?
serviceable, but it's very much just like a couple of button mashes and a dodge
I
that barely
feel like-
works.
I feel like I played a completely different game. Okay, so I have 2 experiences. So first, I was frustrated because I was like, "Oh, I played on PC." So I was like, "There's a weird stutter. Like, why does she keep running if I turn the camera a certain way?" Found out my controller is just dying, so I need to get a new controller. So by the time I get back time to my third one, I had switched to a new controller. Ran seamlessly. The combat to me is so fluid and fun. I think if you don't like combat being part of the triggers, I mean, there are several games who have trigger controls for combat. So I don't think it was a new concept to me. It's just sometimes it's like, oh, is it a face button or is it a trigger? But it was fluid, like the bow movement, the different abilities that you can unlock with the bomb, with the like the slow-mo with the arrow. Like, I don't want to spoil anything.
I ended up spamming the arrow pretty pretty heavily in combat. I jump and then slow time and just keep doing that over and over again.
The upgrades that you can do, like, honestly, and with the music and everything, it's just like it's as much fun. And I was talking with my community about it too, it is as much fun to play as it is to watch. Like chat was saying, this is a fun game to watch because everything flows and it moves and there's just so much vibrancy in everything. Like, everything looks intentional even though you're not the one playing it.
I have a question for you though.
Yeah.
Have you played Devil May Cry, Bayonetta's, old the God of War? And
Sure.
do you like the combat in those games more than you do in Kenna, or no?
I think it's different. Like, I think of games like that, I would associate them more with like Hyrule Warriors than I would with Kenna. Kenna, I associate more. It's kind of a mix. It's almost like I saw it more as like a Nier mixed with a Horizon, mixed with a little bit of even Pikmin, a little bit like the way that you and then Zelda, of course. There's elements to it.
That's
as well.
another thing that pissed me off was the little Pikmin fuckers, because sometimes when I'd be playing, I would want them to go attack like an enemy, and then they would go pick up the health instead, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
You can lock onto the enemies, and that'll make it so that you just click in R3 and
but if there's multiple enemies, I'm obviously trying to strategize. Not a bad game. I think it's very good if you can get into the combat. You'll have a great time with it. I just wasn't for me.
You know what it reminds me of a game out of the PS2 era.
It does.
Like that's really what it feels like.
I had a separate conversation with like a personal
in a
friend
good way,
who told
not
me
a bad
the same exact thing. They said this is a very polished PS2 style game.
In a good way.
It reminds me of that Cameo game for some reason. I just draw parallels between them. You remember that?
Might be the main character art style. I don't know, because that one you would switch between different powers and stuff. This is kind of like that Pixar looking movie almost.
Yeah,
but
it does feel like a game from the PS2 era, almost like a remake of a game from back then, which I kind of like. It's nostalgic.
Yeah, like we're used to live service, multiplayer, all these different things. It's like here's single player, and we have like this action, like this kind of combat that does feel like it's sort of from that era.
Well, I mean, all I will say is I think Ember Lab should be proud of what they did. I think it definitely lived up to
for a first game,
the hype. Yeah, I think it lived up to it, and I think it even did justice to their Terrible Fate cinematic that we saw all those years ago. Because even that was just phenomenal. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but I was just saying right before the podcast, there were 2 moments. The lighthouse boss, when it reaches the second phase, I'm like, dude, this is just wow. I had goosebumps everywhere. And then at the very end, it just like, it was like overwhelming. Like the amount of atmosphere, the amount of traditional instruments that they used for the type of music and culture that they were trying to encapsulate. It's a phenomenal like game to play for $40. Like if you are debating on picking it up, again, if you don't like trigger controls, don't. But if you like fluid combat, in my opinion, it was really, really, really nice. And I'm really satisfied with it. I wish there was more.
Let's Evan, you want to hit us with a Discord question, and then we'll get into this Nintendo Direct talk.
Do you think there will be a tie-in game with the Mario movie coming up?
A tie-in game?
I don't think there'll be
I think there'll be a standalone game. So release.
They would have something just to get the hype around some kind of Mario game. I assume an original one, but I mean they could do all kinds of stuff, I'm sure.
All right, and then I guess from another person also about the Mario movie, do we think it's going to be bad?
I don't think it's going to be good.
We were going to be talking about that because one of the weird announcements was the casting for voice actors, and we'll get to that in a second here. I do hope it's good because hey, it can't be worse than the last Mario movie. So
that movie's kind of
I kind of like that movie.
I'm gonna be honest with you,
man, that was awesome.
I think
the same way you like The Room.
90s video game movies, I think, are criminally underrated because you could go back and watch them and see, because they literally just had source material at that point in time, and it was like you could go
drugs.
And a lot of drugs, and you could go one of 2 ways. The drugs played into the Street Fighter movie because Jean-Claude Van Damme was on so much blow during that movie. He would like disappear for days at a time, and they'd have to reshoot scenes. I love the Street Fighter movie. I love the original Mortal Kombat movie. I like the Super Mario movie. I love the Wizard. You know, you had a Double Dragon movie as well. There was some.
The Wizard was a really good movie. I thought
excellent.
With the Mario Brothers movie, it was kind of a unique twist to the story with the 2 worlds evolving separately and everything. I mean, what else are you gonna do with a live action Mario movie? I thought it was unique.
It's one of those situations where it's so bad that it is good in hindsight because you can laugh at it, watch it with friends, and have that enjoyment of something that isn't good, but you're all still having a good time.
And I would say there's still good parts to it,
sure,
but also very bad parts to it.
But there's also things that's just a bad movie that you don't find enjoyment in. At least, like if this just turns out to be a bad movie, it's you don't know if it's going to be bad because it's still a charm to it. No, it could just be bad, and that's it. It's forgettable.
Let's go over this Nintendo Direct. It was about 40 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? People seemed all right with it. I didn't see anyone really annoyed at it.
I really liked it.
I saw a lot of people annoyed with it.
Really? Everyone seemed like, I even had a poll and it was mostly B. Like everyone mostly voted for B.
I really liked it.
Hold on. Can I just ask what would qualify as an A Direct anymore?
Nothing.
So what I feel like, in my opinion, of always reacting to directs and getting reactions back is that people go in looking for their one thing, and if they don't get their one, maybe 2 things, it was a bad direct.
Yeah, pretty much.
They don't look at the whole scope of how it is compared to other directs.
Honestly, I think an A would have been if we got some dates, around some of that stuff.
So
I thought the content was good, but like if we got dates on some of that stuff, I would have bumped up the rank to maybe an A.
And the dates we got were all 2022 as well. What happened to Winter this year?
I gave it a B+ on your poll. I said B+ in the comments.
There you go. Okay. I think if they had, if anytime Nintendo has a Direct and they have Mario, Zelda, Splatoon, new Switch hardware, and GameCube comes to Nintendo Switch Online, everyone's gonna be like, all right, I guess that's an A. So there you go.
It's gonna live on.
The superior system's already coming.
Exactly.
This one will live on in history only for the fact of the Mario announcement and how crazy that went.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's go over this. Cool. Let's go over this now. He's
so cool.
I had an article pulled from Games Radar. Had everything announced at the September Nintendo Direct. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak DLC.
Horrible way to start things off.
I mean, it's an extremely popular game.
Monster Hunter's huge.
No.
I thought you liked Monster Hunter.
Hold on,
I do.
That was your game. That's your game of the year. Hold on.
I'm sorry. I don't need to hear. I don't care about DLC. And you didn't even talk about what it was going to be. You just said, "Oh, there's going to be new stuff." Well, what's the new stuff? Oh, we're not going to talk about it yet. I thought the first 5 to 7 minutes of the presentation sucked.
Then we had Mario Party Superstars. I don't know. It looks good. I don't know. I'm buying it.
They showed. Listen, I think they listened to the podcast. They showed Leaf Leap. I'm good. I'm getting the game now. They showed it.
We had Voice of Cards.
Yeah, it didn't start strong, did it?
Then we had Disco Elysium, the final cut. It's good to see that go to the Switch.
The more I research that game, the more I'm actually very interested in it.
That game is apparently sick.
Yeah,
and
I just the final cut has the voice acting for
it's a good
everyone.
game. It's one of the few PC games I've ever played.
It's highly regarded as like 10 out of 10, one of the best indie games of all time kind of thing.
It's a little batshit though. Like the decisions you make are going to be to extremes. You will not expect half the things that happen when you select them from just conversation.
That's what made it great.
It's kind of how my life goes.
How Sean lives.
Yeah, I mean it's every day at Sonic for you.
Yeah, there you go. It does say that the physical copy's not coming until 2022. I'm not a fan of that, by the way, because the game comes out and then it's like 5-6 months later, you get a physical copy. And
that was my issue with Kenna. I went into GameStop. I'm like, I'm here to pick up Kenna. And they were like, yeah, water?
Yeah, so that's until November.
Didn't that come out today?
Yeah, that is kind of annoying the way that's working right now, but
it comes out in November physical, apparently.
Yeah, so it's a bit late, unfortunately. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity expansion pass. Then we had
they didn't tell us, just like with Monster Hunter, they didn't tell us anything about that either. Just showed some like
I was a little confused.
They showed us the cutscenes and stuff.
Yeah, but like what's happening? I'm guessing it's new story, but what is it? Like I had no idea.
I wonder if it has to do with Suga. Remember he kind of disappears?
This just says new story content, new stages, and new playable characters.
They did show the 2 new characters. That's all I got from the
Robbie and Pura are playable now. Been wanting it for so long.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chocobo GP. This looked like Final Fantasy Mario Kart.
It looked like a straight clone, but it has Eevee, so I don't care.
I mean, there was a Chocobo racing on the PlayStation. I forgot about that.
I think it's the way they make it look now. It looks very much like 8.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's the camera perspective or what. Just the way they had it set up, it did look kind of like Mario Kart 8. But hey, it works. You know, put it on the Switch. People looking for Mario Kart 9. There you go. You get Chocobo GP instead.
I thought the idea of saving multiple power-ups to make them stronger was interesting, but that was about cool. That's all I got from the trailer, really.
So this announcement was good. I really like to see this Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It is an actual 3D Kirby game, and it's coming spring 2022. So we're like 6-7 months out.
It saved the direct for me.
This was good because
because everything was crap until that announcement came, and then it was really good.
Well, this is good because Kirby in general. I mean, this is
find a lie.
He's not wrong.
Damn, MVG's going off tonight.
But this is good for the Kirby franchise because I mean, Kirby was getting stale. Like, I'm sorry. Does anyone remember the last Kirby game that came out on the Switch? Because like, I feel like no one talks about it.
It was
Star Allies.
Star Allies. Star Allies
3 hours
is a bad game.
It was so bad.
Is that it was simplistic and it was just a safe entry to the formula, and it was coming after the fantastic Planet Robobot, which is probably the best 2D Kirby game in the last decade. So this is the revolutionary evolution for the franchise that it desperately needed. And this is exactly what you want to see from a Kirby on a home console like the Switch. It looks like it's blending Super Mario Odyssey with a bit of 3D World. And the only concern, and it's a very loose concern just based on the trailer footage, is that the environments do look fairly open, almost to the point where Kirby might just be able to walk around an enemy and not even engage with some of them. But that's something they could address. But you also want to beat the enemy so you can gain their abilities and fight like that big boss that they did demonstrate in the video. But this game is a day one purchase without question. This is where Kirby had to go. And, you know, there's still place for 2D Kirbys, but they needed to really spruce up and spice up the Kirby franchise, and this is exactly what that series needed. I can't wait for it.
They're trying to get the 3D Kirby's, back into people's radar. So when they bring Kirby Air Ride over with the GameCube,
oh god,
see, there we go. Now we're talking.
Kirby Air Ride, man.
I think one of the things that kind of got overlooked is they showed like that abandoned mall / urban area for most of the trailer. Yeah, they showed that for most of the trailer, but once I just kind of got into like the little sizzle reel part of it, you got to see so many different types of environments, like the really neon environment, like a darker environment. So I think a lot of people think it's just going to be Kirby Last of Us like in that area, but there's going to be a lot more variety.
You think it's be just a hub world? Basically, like there's a hub world that you then go to these different places from.
I think Super Mario Odyssey is a good comparison in which the levels themselves are very big and almost feel like mini open worlds.
A lot of the power-ups shown look like Mario's power-ups, like like the boomerang would act like the hat. Like they had similar, showcases like that.
I feel like with the success of Odyssey, and now we're seeing Kirby get a very similar game. Do you think this opens doors to like a Yoshi and a Donkey Kong, and Nintendo bringing back all their franchises?
I like Donkey Kong. That'd be fun.
How long have I been saying Donkey Kong and New Donk City, similar to like a King Kong movie? That would be fucking amazing.
Bring back 3D platformers. Like
I thought you were going to say Grand Theft Auto.
Nintendo could really bring back 3D platformers and start doing it with all their franchises.
Yeah, I think the Yoshi franchise needs to undergo a similar evolution as what we're seeing with Kirby here, because Crafted World, while unique in its overall design, still lack that ambition, because Woolly World is probably the superior Yoshi game. Now, if they can make a 3D Yoshi game, we're exploring Yoshi Island with well-detailed environments and all of what we saw in the Kirby game and even the Mario titles, that would be an exciting Yoshi product, because otherwise Yoshi's been a very safe release for Nintendo, just like the Kirby franchise, and they're finally taking that risk, and I think it's going to pay off for them in a big way next spring.
Imagine they start bringing everything back. I mean, you already have Metroid Prime getting one, and now Kirby. I mean, this leads the way to like F-Zero and getting those games. Just do the staples again.
Kid Icarus, do a 3D Kid Icarus game like that.
I will say it's a weird parallel when you first see Kirby on the beach and it cuts to like going straight into the forest. I'm like, that's literally Crash Bandicoot.
Yes.
I was like, wait, what are we about to get here? Just a Kirby Crash Bandicoot type game?
I thought it was Kingdom Hearts at first with the palm trees and there's no freaking way. And then it was Kirby and I'm like, this is a 3D Kirby. I'm fine with this too.
We had Animal Crossing New Horizons getting updates. I fell out of Animal Crossing a while ago, and apparently that Nintendo hadn't been doing a lot of updates for it. But they're doing
not. I hadn't been playing since like last July.
They're doing a full direct in October for Animal Crossing, so I guess that November update's gonna be pretty substantial.
I hope they put something in there that makes me want to buy it.
You still don't have. Oh, that's right. You still have never played it.
I still never played it. There was nothing. Nate's is in the mail. Nothing about it.
Canceled it. I've been transit for 9 months and then it finally stopped.
Nothing about it looked like different or anything like that.
I mean, to be honest, like if you haven't played it, there's a lot of content. Obviously, it's like a chunk, but it's like once you get past through the main chunk of content, it's afterwards. It's like the long, like that.
Yeah.
I'd say end game, but it's like the long run. Like it's really hard to stay entertained. I was kind of hoping that they do the holiday events, like they'd change it up drastically every year since they can do patches like that, but they haven't really shown anything different.
I put 200 hours into it, which is insane for any game these days for me. But then once I hit that point, it became boring, like so boring. And then, the seasonal updates were like, it's Halloween, give a villager a candy. Okay, see you next year. So it needed a big update.
If only the game sold better, might warrant some more support.
I know.
Right.
These indie releases, man.
Mario Golf Super Rush got another update. Sean, you're right about that, by the way. The live service Mario Golf over here from Nintendo.
Not wrong.
Disney Magical World 2 Enchanted Edition.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, boy.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the original one.
Good announcement.
Very good announcement.
It is good. It's just weird because we just got done looking at the remake that should be coming out in 2024, which is exciting.
I laughed at this announcement just because of the two situations of Sony coming out saying we're remaking this, fan favorite all-time classic, the Nintendo Direct, We got the old one for $15. It comes out in November. Like
it's from Aspire, and
come on, but
go MBG.
The original is a classic. You know exactly what you're getting. You're getting perfection. With this new one, we don't know what we're getting yet. Like, it may not be a good game, and it's like 4 years away. So
it's getting Final Fantasy VII remaked. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I have a feeling it's gonna happen.
Isn't there a lot of controversy with the person rewriting it?
I don't know.
I don't recall any controversy around it. I'd have to investigate.
Is there? We have to look online. I assume this was on Twitter because that's where all the controversy happens.
Oh yeah, they're like the Star Wars fan that hates Star Wars kind of thing.
What?
You know how there's a lot of those people.
Star Wars fan.
So is it being written by Gary Whitta?
No, it's some lady.
Oh, okay.
I saw some tweets about
Gary Whitta hates YouTubers.
Who doesn't hate YouTubers?
But he's on YouTube.
Exactly.
Aspire ported Knights of the Republic to cell phones.
Right.
So it makes sense that they're like, oh yeah, let's also drop it on the Switch. That's fine.
Do you think it might be the mobile version coming to Switch?
You know, that's what I thought about. I was like, I wonder if they're just thinking, well, we already have it working on ARM. Let's just.
But I think they also did the PC
over.
and Mac versions as well.
Okay.
So there might be a reason to be optimistic that you're not just getting the mobile version.
We had Dying Light 1 and 2. So this is such a weird situation. Dying Light 1 is native on the Switch. Dying Light 2 is going to be the cloud version.
I think Dying Light 1 is going to end up like The Witcher 3 did, because they're even doing like the big physical edition of it that comes with a bunch of goodies and stuff.
The physical copy looks good, like from what they were showing.
I'm excited for the physical. I'm not about cloud games on Switch.
Same.
Yeah. I mean, hold on. You were playing a Hitman on the Switch though, Sean. You said it was all right.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be better to play it natively.
Yeah, when they showed it, I was like, they're really getting that on the Switch. And then it popped up cloud version. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Because Dying Light 2 looked like they were having a hard enough time getting that thing out the door as it was.
I've never tried Switch cloud docked on Switch with a LAN, but whenever I do it otherwise, there's just input lag and I can't stand it.
Oh, I can't even imagine playing handheld.
Yeah.
I only play docked for that. Yeah.
Handheld is rough.
I tried the control demo because they have like a demo. Like this one will have a demo for the cloud. I think they give you like, what is it, like 30 minutes or an hour or something just to play around in it. And you could tell the input lag. And that's a first person style game. Ooh, that's not going to be great. Triangle Strategy. They did indeed just drop Project and it's just called Triangle Strategy.
Dumb.
Docker.
Change it.
Call it Try or something. Like just
call it something completely different.
How about something creative? Let's do that.
Strategically triangular. That could have been a good name.
It's one of those things where they took a word from the genre itself, strategy RPG, and just dropped it in.
Yeah, but you have to look at Square Enix's like naming trends. They literally named the game 2 generations ago, Infinite Undiscovery.
Yeah,
what the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
The discovery is infinite.
I mean, yeah, you look at Kingdom Hearts titles, Final Fantasy titles too. You're not wrong.
It's coming out March 4th. The game itself looks good. That's why I'm annoyed by the title, because like the title is just, it's not a great title. But the game itself looks good.
The demo was good earlier this year. They said they've changed a lot. They added an easy mode, so if the game was kicking your ass, you can still enjoy like the narrative and everything of it. But I mean, gameplay wise, I thought the demo was really well structured, and difficulty, I never really had a problem. You want to have challenge in a strategy RPG because you want to have to think and know how to attack things. Yeah. So when that comes out early next year, it's a day one purchase without question.
I like that art style too. I like it, the visuals, and it's going to look good on Dragon Quest as well when that goes over to that. So March 4th, looking forward to it. Then they showed Metroid Dread. It looked like a nice solid 3.01 million teaser.
2.99, baby.
Yeah, that's we'll find out. We'll find out here in a couple months, hopefully. Actually, if like the first or second day they make it a sales announcement, Sean, and it's like 1 million copies, are you gonna be sweating?
No, not at all, because I expect it to do that. Okay. Because the Metroid fan base is a very dedicated fan base. It's not about them. It is about other people.
Okay, we had Shadowrun Trilogy. Then we had Castlevania Advanced Collection, which is incredible.
Yes.
Fantastic. Everyone should go buy it. You know, when I heard it was $20, I couldn't believe it because everything here looked good and it's Konami. So like they were destined to mess this entire thing up.
I mean, it was them too. Let's be real. Konami just collects the bag at the end of it, but like, it's an excellent collection of games, and it's got the uncompressed audio as well, which just makes it.
That's where they would have messed up, but they didn't. I can't believe it. Even where I thought they like that would have been perfect for Konami to be like, oh, but it's compressed audio.
Don't call it a comeback.
Whoa, hold on. Why? What's next?
Calm down, Nate. Calm down.
Hey, when they come out, hopefully next year they come out with the DS trilogy, and they just keep on going.
Oh, whoa.
Where's Metal Gear Solid?
Where'd that come from?
They have to do the Castlevania collection again.
Then Silent Hill.
They can do multiple projects.
Wow.
Konami's not doing anything themselves.
But they're due for a screw up. So this is really good. If the DS version is really good, I'm terrified for Metal Gear Solid now. They're gonna mess something up. It's Konami.
They already messed up Metal Gear Solid. It's called Survivor.
That's true. You know what? That's like 2 mess ups in one, right? That's like they get like a mulligan kind of for it because it was so bad.
I would like Metal Gear Solid 5.
I was okay with 5.
It would be sweet to get those DS games though.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I guess they could make that work. They could figure it out.
Yeah, there's no reason they can't. I mean, M2 is definitely talented enough to do it.
Then we had disappointment because I saw MVG's post about this ActRaiser Renaissance.
Yeah,
okay.
Joe said it's fucking terrible too.
How bad is MVG? Because you post something up and I thought you photoshopped it, but that was an actual screenshot.
No, it's rough. So people like it. I mean, there are people that say that the gameplay is really good. The problem is, you know how they say, a game is not determined by its graphics. I mean, that only takes you so far. Like the first time I started playing this, I played like an hour's worth, and I can't play this game. It's not anything like the vision of ActRaiser that I remember on the Super NES. But some people do like it, and I'm glad people do enjoy it. But I'm not into it.
Who made this game? I gotta figure out who it is. Okay,
but it doesn't look very good. I don't like the graphical style at all. It does not work with me at all.
My Castlevania instead.
Yeah, there you go. $20 for Castlevania for those 4 games.
Yeah, ActRaiser's 30.
Whoa!
Yeah, you get Castlevania. Don't get ActRaiser.
It's very ugly.
Deltarune Chapter 2 is getting updated for Chapter 1 that's already there, so that's cool. Then we had the Super Mario movie, and this was the weirdest part of the Direct. This might have been the weirdest part for Nintendo for like the last 2 years, maybe 3. The Super Mario movie, Miyamoto showed up on screen and told us that
he's so cool.
Apparently, he's going to be voicing. He's voicing Mario. I don't know how that's going to work with Chris Pratt, his voice coming out of Mario.
I think
it doesn't make any sense.
I think we just have to think: are they going to give it like it's them speaking? Are they doing like their own interpretation of a character? Like
I heard that someone on this cast can do an excellent voice for one of the characters. I hope they are willing to share.
Oh, one of the super chats asked if Miss Click could read something in Toad's voice.
But Banjo and Kazooie's not on this movie.
So so Chris Pratt, and then we have Charlie Day as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser.
I don't think that's bad.
Makes sense.
I think Jack Black can make it work, right?
That's the best one, but the thing is, Bowser doesn't have that personality. He's just
it's either gonna be really good or it's gonna fall very flat. Like Jack Black is almost slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
So it's gonna go one of 2 ways.
I know, like Chris Pratt was out of nowhere, but like Seth Rogen was probably the one that I did not expect to pop up in a Nintendo Direct to be like, here's Seth Rogen, he's Donkey Kong.
Out of all of them, Seth Rogen is the one that can't not be Seth Rogen. He's got to be Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
It's so funny to watch everyone's reaction because they're already laughing so hard at all the names. And then when it gets to Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong and they're done, it is the best moment.
Did you watch Donkey's reaction?
Oh yeah, no. I watched everyone.
That one had me rolling. Yeah, watching anyone's reaction is hilarious. But Donkey was already crying, and then it hit like Seth Rogen hits, and you're just dead inside. You can hear his girl is louder than him in like 3 doors down screaming.
I will say I don't think that they're going to be putting on like a voice or trying to emulate how Mario sounds in the game or how Luigi sounds. I think it's going to be primarily these actual like actors' voices. And I think that Nintendo's and Illumination's decision on this, it's primarily marketing based, right? You put these big names, that's how you sell it, because you do have the voice talent literally right there to make it. And when it comes to this, you want real talent behind it. Not saying that these actors aren't good voice actors, but you have the voice actor this close to the project to be able to do it. And I get it's not it's not as marketable as like, oh, we have Chris Pratt. He's so cool. He could be in our movie.
He's so cool.
So I understand why they're doing it. It also just kind of stings more the fact like if Charles Martinet wasn't involved, I think it would just be like, oh, why did they do that? But the fact that he's in the project and he's not the characters he's voicing is also like, unless this movie takes a route where like on screen, like, oh, they have to play the Mario characters, but this is their life while they're not doing Mario stuff we see in the games, and they turn off the voice, or there has to be some sort of aspect.
I mean, he does voices for all kinds of characters though in the
right.
So he could do just a random like spot for Wario or something. Just throw something in there for that. Or if Mario jumps and hits something, you could do like a little soundbite for it.
That's what I was thinking. My initial reaction was like, there's no way Chris is going to do a voice. But if you go to his Instagram, he does like a little video on there talking about him getting the role. And at one point he goes, "It's a me, Mario," like really plainly. And then he's like, "That's not the voice. We've been working on it, but you're going to have to wait to hear it," is his exact word.
Interesting. Okay.
I think that's also just like pretend marketing speak, like a joke. Like he's just saying, we're working on the voice as a joke.
Do you think they'll play around with the voices just like in post, like just like playing around with like levels and stuff just to get it like to a certain point
for certain things? But the other thing too is like Lego Movie was a pretty enjoyable watch, and they had, I think Chris was Emmett in that one as well, and everything seemed to go pretty well. I think it has to do with your dynamics.
I'm trying to figure out what's the plot going to be for a 90-minute Mario movie? That's the thing,
because if you picture it as like a normal Mario plot, it can't be that, because it would be a normal Mario plot with these voices. That doesn't make sense. My only thing I could like come up with that makes sense with the voices is if like they did like an alternate dimension kind of thing, like you know how Mario and Rabbids were the dimension thing, and maybe Mario and the gang get thrown into like the real world, and maybe they even become like the actors they're playing, or like the actors are like in their bodies or something, like something really out there, because I don't see like Mario going to save Peach from Jack Black Bowser and Seth Rogen helping him on the way makes any sense. I don't see that.
Would be kind of funny if they got thrown in the real world and like Bowser had to get an actual like desk job or something.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm like, an out of the box like video game movie kind of thing, where it's these actors trapped in the body, or they're just in the real world, so they have normal voices now. That's all I can imagine.
So after that, why not?
my other thought was, I wonder how like the meetings went for this movie, because like part of me like I don't know if Miyamoto approached it like almost like a Kojima, where it's like, I want this person, I want this person, I want this person. I wonder how much Hollywood really influenced it, and being like, okay, well, this is who you have to choose from if you want to like.
He seemed pretty jazzed about Chris Pratt.
Yeah,
so cool. he's jazzed about so many things though, like at what point was it all his decision, or what? I wonder if there were like compromises that had to be made, because they're like, no, we want this to sell, we don't want this to flop, this is Illumination we're talking about, like this is going to be a giant project, you're going to have to like give and take.
Flop though if it didn't have a star-studded cast? Like, it's fucking Mario.
He's got to put Mario on the front, right? That should work. Then we had Splatoon 3 click.
Oh my god, dude.
Good.
Oh my, there's so much to dissect in that trailer. Holy crap, I'm so excited. I really hope people actually give this game a try, because it's just,
I mean, the second one sold really well, so I assume that this one will sell better.
Overall. Yeah, no, for sure. There's like so many new additions. The things that we were talking about earlier today too is like the edits they're doing from weapons from 1 and weapons from 2, completely new ones that we've never seen before. It's of course, it's just, I'm really excited. That's all.
And then we finished out with Bayonetta 3, and this is good because that's the game we said, look, Bayonetta 3's got to be there. Like, if it's not there, that means they're not showing it in 2022, and that means there's probably something wrong with this game. They showed it, and it looked good. I had some concerns around some of the stuff they showed. What's that?
From what I was gathering online, they've replaced the voice actress for Bayonetta.
Oh, It's because I don't think that's the same Bayonetta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a multiverse. I think it's Cereza.
I think
I did see that theory, but then there was a tweet online from the actress that originally played her, and someone's like, I can't imagine it, like anyone else playing her, and then they replied, you might have to, which seemed very ominous, like she's been replaced.
I personally, because this is the other thing I picked up on too, if you notice, the way Bayonetta is in general in the animations, it's not the same sassy, super over, like sensual, sexual kind of Bayonetta. It's a little bit more tamed down. And part of me was like, whoa, I wonder if they're just taming it down because like they want to appeal to more people on the Switch. Then the other half of me is like, well, wait a minute, like Bayonetta gets split in half in the 2017 trailer. The logo is not just a 3. Her whole Umbra Witch emblem has been sliced in half.
That's a good point.
There's 2 different Umbra Witches symbols in the actual logo of itself. I'm like, well, what if what we did in 2 with, she called her Little One. I just call her Little One now. Is like, what if this is Little One coming to step in because our Bayonetta got absolutely like slaughtered? Like, what if she's the one that we're playing as, which could account for a different voice actress if we wanted to, and then also the hair and maybe a little bit less over the top as our Bayonetta was.
That would make sense, but does it make it any better that you're playing a whole Bayonetta game with a Bayonetta-like person who isn't voiced by Bayonetta?
Well, that's where, I mean, if it's Cereza, Cereza, who is Bayonetta's basically youth, and if the events of Bayonetta 2 have now caused an alternate timeline, and we're getting like a multiverse type of thing, the Cereza that we've been playing as in the first 2 games, now we're having, that alternate version of her, and because the hairstyle matches, I think that's the direction they're going with here with the characters, which would explain a voice actor's difference. And the one thing in the trailer that really stood out to me was, aside from them really acknowledging a lot of Platinum's game catalog, you had Astral Chain acknowledged with the dog. And then at the end, they kind of, to me, it was a reference to Scalebound, but the gameplay demonstration itself made a lot of references to Scalebound. I wouldn't say that was Virgil, but they made a lot of references to Scalebound gameplay dynamics with the whole demon aspect. That was something directly ripped from Scalebound, and even JP Kellums acknowledged that and said these were a lot of the concepts that we were going to introduce in that title, and the game's current director was one of the lead designers of Scalebound. So it seems as though they are taking that vision and they're implementing it into Bayonetta 3 at this point, which could be pretty exciting if we get to see some of the elements that could have found their way into Scalebound, which unfortunately will never come to market.
Yeah, it looked pretty massive, some of the stuff they were trying to do, but I was looking at it, I was like, man, that Switch is getting pushed pretty hard here.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of see it while there's, and it's like, ooh, I'm sure it's going to run well enough, but I'm like, it would be nice to get some new hardware looking at a game like this next year.
You got the Switch OLED. What else?
Some of these bigger games with their environments are starting to look really rough and bland.
Well, here's the thing I was about to say. Like when looking at it was clear in like the cinematics, but even when it got to the gameplay segments, like obviously there's some really like deep purples and blues and reds in the combat and in these little contained areas. But it's so much gray.
Yeah,
there's so much gray, and I'm like, every building blends in with each other, and I know but it just
always been kind of ugly.
That just turns me away from it. The combat looks fine. I'm not going at that. I'm just saying visually, I'm looking at it. I'm like,
no, I get that.
I do think that's a Switch thing too. I mean, No More Heroes 3 wasn't built the best anyway, but that was very like gray.
I also do think, because I've seen it used to this advantage before, because having the grayed out background, having this grayscale really shines the light on when the colors are used, and when the purples shine, it's like, wow, that's a deep purple. That looks really good. But I can't help but get distracted by the grayness everywhere.
I feel like they want you to focus on her though, because in every other game, like it's only colors you've really seen have been the blue or the reds and the purple from the Witch Time.
My concern is that when like certain things are happening, larger scale things, you kind of see the frame rate. It was having a hard time. And in my mind, that's a game where, I mean, you want that locked 60 for a game like that with a lot of timing and the action element to it. So I would be concerned if we get to a point where the game is closer to release and it still looks kind of shaky if they show new gameplay. Well, I mean,
have we really actually had a Bayonetta ever launch with a consistent 60 frames a second?
No.
We had Bayonetta 1 and 2 on the Switch is pretty good.
Well, he said
even
launch though.
Launch. When it came to 360 and PS3, it wasn't a stable 60. When it launched on the Wii U, it wasn't a stable 60.
But it launched on the Switch.
Not as an original release launch. I'm talking about the first version on the market.
I'm gonna go with John here.
There you go.
It did launch.
Yep. Launched as the first portable version. There you go.
I think the game looked really good. I will definitely check it out. I'm a big fan. The only thing that I will say is we waited 4 years for this trailer, right? And I just felt like it was a little underwhelming at the end of the day. I felt like, why did we have to wait so long for this one trailer to come out? You know, like I just felt like maybe they should have given us more for the third game. But I also understand that, look, it's still in development. It's probably, I don't know how long until it releases. Could be another year away. So I am going to reserve judgment until the game comes out.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm. I think it's like second half of next year. So we got our first trailer for it, some gameplay. I'm thinking, okay, when we get closer to release, I'm sure they'll show it some more, and we saw like Pokemon, for example, Pearl, Diamond, that got a bit of extra details and stuff added to it. It looks better now than it did when they first showed it. So I'm thinking, maybe closer to release, it'll be polished up a bit more.
Yeah, there's a lot with this game that they really have to explain and demonstrate. Yeah. Once we get closer to, because all we really saw in this trailer was combat. We really don't know much about the environments. Is this going to go with a faux open world like a God of War style? Is it still going to be a corridor style game? Because we saw some of the environments be destructible when you saw the demon get smashed into that building. You saw like the screen break behind it, and that's kind of more than we've seen from previous Bayonetta, where all you could break is like a stool or a pillar on the street. So it seems as though they are being quite ambitious with the scope of this project, but how far is the scope going to go beyond having direct control of the demons? And we even saw, I believe we saw like a health bar above some of the demons in the gameplay trailer as well, which we've never really had in a Bayonetta prior, unless you were fighting a boss where you'd have the bar at the bottom of the screen. So are they really trying to make the combat more expansive? And if we do have direct control of the demons, is that only going to be in combat situations, or are we going to be able to ride a demon through the open world or any of the environments that we're in outside of combat? There's a lot of questions.
An open world Bayonetta game. I feel like that's almost asking a little too much. I'm sorry, y'all. Like
Switch,
the trailer looked like every Bayonetta. Like Bayonetta's fun. The combat is the main draw. The story was okay. Like the music was great, bopping soundtrack, but like it looked like a major Bayonetta. Like it looked like exactly what I was hoping to see. But I want to know why they baited us with Lappy. I want to know why.
I was going to laugh really hard.
I thought it was Bayonetta, and I got excited, and then I was sad when I realized I thought it wasn't, and then I got excited again because I'm like, oh, it's an Astral Chain. But then I got excited again, but also sad when it wasn't Astral Chain, it was Bayonetta.
I was going to laugh so hard. If it was Astral Chain 2, I was going to lose my mind.
It would have been glorious, though. After all this wait, people are like, finally, Bayonetta 3, Astral Chain 2. Like, no. That was just the game we wanted to see now, but maybe we're getting the platinum.
They were just messing with us. Come on. I mean, the whole trailer was almost a troll. Like, there's so many things that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, her referencing how long it's been and that she's here now with everything we'll need. Like, a lot of the trailer was obvious. I'm a huge fan of those games. It's so cool. And I'm really excited for the third, but I don't think that trailer really gave me much to be excited about, even as a fan.
The next trailer that they do for the Kickstarter for the game will be better.
Yikes!
Damn.
Do you want more story or something? Like what else? What else could they show you? Because like a giant turf war between two monsters that you get.
Yeah, I didn't care about that at all.
Look like there was like a tab menu. You could.
What I like about Bayonetta is like the hack and slash style combat, and then like Bayonetta and her story, or like whatever happens if it's not Bayonetta. I've never cared for two big monsters fighting in a city.
You don't want to play a kaiju?
How fun is that past a couple of like A and B attacks and just kind of waiting for that cutscene to end? Like I want to see the game, you know?
They make it.
I wonder how much they'll show then. Yeah.
I think they could have used a narrative trailer here, so we could have got the concept of what the game's going for, and if this was Cereza, because the combat looks great, but we know the combat of Bayonetta is always fantastic. If they would have given us a little more of the narrative, so we could really be sitting there saying, "Ooh, what's going on?" It kind of
they want you to speculate.
Wait, but we just had a PlayStation Direct, and everybody was like, "Oh, I don't need more cinematic. I want gameplay." And now we get gameplay, and now you guys are saying you want cinematic, like. Is there any like what do you really want?
Why can't we have both?
I want a different gameplay. So I'm very particular.
We can have gameplay with some story elements. As far as we know of this story right now is this is probably Cereza. It's probably an alternate dimension, and we have a mysterious character appear at the end where the date comes up 2022, and they cut it in half, which
it sounds like
I was hoping that would become 2021 when they cut it in half.
I thought they were doing that.
I was getting ready.
I think they're gonna wait some time, and this is like kind of we saw with Zelda too. They showed us a couple different things, and it was just like establishing shots or giving us a general idea, and then they kind of gave us the narrative later on. So I feel like they're probably gonna do that towards like when it's like really close to launching. Like I think that's gonna seal the hype for people.
Just give this game a treehouse. That's all it needs. Just give it a treehouse, let them sit down for like 20-30 minutes, talk about the game, show it some in a level, and then they just move on from there.
I feel like of all Nintendo IPs that get a sequel, Bayonetta has the hardest time selling to people who haven't previously played a Bayonetta and fallen into the series.
I don't get why though, because Devil May Cry 5 was so popular.
Yeah,
I mean they're very similar in combat style.
I don't want to say it, but I think some people it rubs in the wrong way that there's a female acting the same way that Dante does a little bit. I think Dante is.
I hope they carry that same energy with Metroid Dread.
Huh?
I said I hope they keep that same energy with Metroid Dread then, so that way it doesn't sell 3 million, which it won't.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I disagree with what you were gonna say, Miss Click. I think it's a harder sell for some people based on that.
Yeah, well, they're just like, oh, this woman is like barely dressed a lot of times, and like some people see clips from 2 and they're like, is her butthole shining? Like,
but it's also very out there as a game.
It's very out there,
and it's very complex with its story. And you like, there's not really an easy jumping on point. Like with Devil May Cry 5, it was we're gonna go slay demons. Cool,
mindless fun.
How much? I mean, how much does this game cost to develop? I mean, it's gonna be 5 years basically from when they showed it to when it releases, most likely.
When the Kickstarter hits, you'll find out how much additional money they need, good sir.
It sounds like this is a game that probably I have to imagine cost Nintendo more than they were thinking it would originally.
Probably more than it was worth, I feel. Yeah, I said it.
I mean, probably. I mean, yeah. I mean, they're going to platinum. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's been the thing with Bayonetta since the second one when Nintendo became involved, and Nintendo even said it once. They said, we look at games like Splatoon that were huge successes for them, and they use the money that they make in excess of what they were originally forecasting to fund games like Bayonetta, which
more diverse games
hasn't even sold 1 million copies on the Switch.
Yeah,
think about that. Bayonetta 2, one of the best games of its genre, didn't sell 1 million copies.
That's so upsetting. That really hurts my soul.
Astral Chain did sell 1 million. So let's say, like, for Bayonetta 3 to be the best-selling Bayonetta game, only has to do like 1.5 million, and it probably won't even be able to do that. But luckily, Animal Crossing, which probably cost Nintendo not all that much money, sold 35 million copies. So they sat on a lot of money, and they can fund a game like this. And that's nice to see a company take that risk of basically saying, we're going to lose money on this project, but we want to have that diversity in our software catalog. So hey, we can be thankful Bayonetta 3 is even happening, and hopefully it does make it. Hopefully it does launch next year and it's in a good state and it's the performance is up to snuff. It targets 60 FPS and it holds it as best it can, and hopefully the narrative is pretty unique and the gameplay has a few new gimmicks that really elevate the franchise and even the genre.
Give the first 2 games a shot if you're listening and you haven't played them.
Oh, they're on
Switch.
Good.
They're on
Some of my favorite of all time. They're on Switch. They're so good.
Yeah, stop typing the sus comments in chat about women, y'all. Y'all on the line. Jeez, just go buy the game and play it, because some of you are exposing yourselves right now. Holy crap.
It's good though. They're both on there. You can pick it up on the eShop right now.
Yeah, it's a good steal.
Let's go over, Evan, to a Discord question. Well, I'll get some of the super chats, then we'll go into the N64.
All right. Do you think Cruisin' Blast is going to get a port to PC?
Yes, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Does Nintendo own the IP?
Oh, they do.
But isn't it?
Don't they?
Isn't it? It's an arcade game, though, right? Didn't it come from an arcade game, like the original?
Yeah, but Nintendo owns the Cruisin' IP. They license it to the arcades.
There you go.
You have like the Mario Kart arcade and Luigi's Mansion arcade. They allow the IP to be used in those cases.
You know what? That's one to keep an eye on, though, just in case Nintendo's like, go put it on PC. That could be one of those times where Nintendo a little different.
How much longer do you think before game delays start to become like less prevalent?
You mean because of COVID?
Yeah.
Okay, because I would say game delays are probably just always going to exist.
I honestly, I think any date that's given is just a soft date. Honestly, I wouldn't expect things to go back to the way they were. I just think that the way that dates, I mean, look at the direct. I mean, we got 2022 as a date, for a game. That's what we're going to start seeing. And that's not, sure, it's because of COVID that we're seeing that, but I don't think it's going to change going forward. I think publishers want the window where they can just basically drop a month or a year in there. I can't really see that really changing going forward. I think video games are getting more expensive and longer to develop. And I think trying to estimate when these games will actually come out is becoming almost impossible. So I wouldn't expect things to go back to the way they were.
Go over here to T. Joe says, first Sonic Colors, now Lost Judgment, had its own early access issues on PlayStation. I'm starting to wonder if maybe paid early access was a bad idea for Sega. Probably. I mean, it's a way to get you to pre-order that they're just releasing the game when it was really ready to go. So,
speaking of Lost Judgment, good game. Been playing a lot of it.
It came in. It came in yesterday. I haven't had a chance to open it because I went to Death Stranding, the director's cut there.
Yeah.
But
what's wrong with you?
What's wrong? So, hey, you know what, Sean? One of my friends who says you're their favorite person on this podcast sent me a message earlier, and they said Death Stranding after Metal Gear Solid 3 is Kojima's best work.
Wow. What kind of drugs do they do? Can they hook me up with some?
I agree.
I don't know. I hear a lot of people saying Death Stranding's good and that Keena's good. And Sean, you're uninstalling these games, so
yep. Because I keep it real. I don't care what everyone else.
I wouldn't put those two in the same category, but
like Sean's uninstalling good games.
That's true. He is.
He didn't even pick up Deathloop. Sean, half the games are gonna be a game of the year.
Deathloop
conversation. You're gonna be like, I uninstalled that game. I didn't buy that game.
No, I got Cruisin' Blast and Castlevania Advance Collection. Those are the games of the year so far.
Oh my gosh.
One's not wrong.
One's a collection of games.
Yes.
So if the collection of games can go in, does that mean that a director's cut can go in?
It shouldn't, but I have a sneaking suspicion. My buddy Jeff, who still follows me, I don't know why. I have a sneaking suspicion he will put it in there.
You told him about Cruisin' Blast, right?
I told him about Cruisin' Blast. He asked what we wanted to see in the Nintendo Direct, and I said nudity and lots of it. And people were like, "You're just trying to get blocked at this point." I was like, "No, this is how I talk."
No, because you could be like, that means Bayonetta 3 is gonna be there, right?
Hey, they're playing the long game there.
Swift X Mile says Kenna is great. Love supporting indie devs. Chris, no message there. Marky Muck says, anyone have a crush for Kenna? I do not.
Isn't she like a child?
Moving on. Christian says,
he's not real.
Did anyone import Nintendo Switch Online Super Famicom controller? If so, how hard and pricey was it? I want the 6-button Genesis pad, but have no idea how to buy it. So I did not import that.
Buy the Retrobit controller that's coming out.
Who's making these controllers? Is Nintendo making them? Is the third party making them for Nintendo?
Like, that I'm not sure.
I mean, the Super Nintendo and Nintendo ones, those are just Nintendo, aren't they?
Yeah,
yeah. But what about these ones though? Because I have questions about these ones.
Yeah, we're gonna get to those when we go over the online service. Because I have some questions about that too. Valuxian says, go ahead.
I was gonna say Retrobit is coming out with the 3-button style controller that's 6 buttons, so you have the comfort of the 3 with the buttons of the 6, and it'll be completely compatible. So if you want to get a controller, I would get that.
Valuxian says the law of Nintendo Directs: a direct is never perfect until it has the fabled Pikmin 4. And says, bought my first PS4 yesterday due to firmware 9.0. Johnny says, can Misclick do her Toad voice for the fans?
I don't know. Can I?
I mean, how much was the donation?
$2.
Eh.
Who cares?
I think doesn't it cost more for OJ to tell you if he's here or not?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Okay. Ven says, in the alternate timeline where the Spawncast provide the voices for a Mario movie, who? RGT would clearly be Luigi.
Somebody else said I would be Bowser.
No, you'd
be Wario. Absolutely,
Wario. Wario, absolutely. I was playing Smash the other day and I just randomly blurted out, has anybody ever thought about how Wario is RGT85?
It's not that he would be, it's just that he is.
Well, Miss Click's obviously Toad.
Apparently, yeah.
I'll be
I
Peach.
can also do a Peach voice. No, you're better Peach. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be Peach.
Can we hear your Toad voice? I'm unfamiliar with it.
You're unfamiliar with it.
Yeah. I've heard about it. I haven't heard the actual voice.
Oh man, dying too many times.
I want to say that Kim was dying laughing the other night, and I walked in and I was like, "What are you watching?" It was that clip on Twitter of you. She thought it was so funny.
I'm unfamiliar with said clip.
Give me something to say.
Metroid Prime or Metroid Dread's gonna sell 3 million copies, Sean.
Let's say that.
No. Hi, my name is RGT85, and I'm gonna lose the bet, and I'm gonna have to play Palette of Waterfall because it's just the best game ever in freaking existence. And play Metroid games, or otherwise, you're fucking dead to me. You hear me?
I like that you're fucking dead to me.
You sound so far away, but you're like right next to your microphone.
I sound far away.
It's probably like
it's just a voice. Yeah, it's just a voice. It's really funny.
I can try to whisper. No, I can't.
William says thank this team for all the best videos and streams. If you all could pick any one vehicle from any game to drive daily, what would it be?
Warthog.
The DeLorean.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good one. Chris, no message here. Cristobal says, congrats, John, on 600k subs.
Wait,
really.
Do we all get to answer? Because there's a lot of cars in Forza I'd like to pick.
Usually people just throw out an answer before we move to the next one.
I'll just go with Metal Gear Rex then. It's a vehicle.
Okay, that makes sense.
Do chocobos count?
I don't see why not.
Jordan, I'm surprised you didn't pick the motorcycle from Astral Chain.
Oh, you know what?
Or a
is there time to change my
dinosaur
answer?
from Cruising Blast.
The Triceratops. Crystal says, congrats, John, on 600k subs. Really great Mario Circuit video would, I think, and hope that Nintendo expansion pack will be $30 overall a year, in my opinion. Okay, let's go to the Nintendo online service. We had Nintendo 64 games announced. Good job, Nate. We're proud of you.
Thanks.
Shut the fuck up, Wario.
So we do have N64 and Sega Genesis coming over. We have two controllers, just replicas, I guess, of the Nintendo 64 controller and the Genesis controller. 3-button for us, 6-button for Japan. No clue what that's about.
Is anyone else upset they didn't put the rails on the 64 controller so that you could have
slide them on the Switch? Which side does I guess the analog stick goes on the left side? Is that how we do it then? Just splits right down the middle.
Just gets to either side.
I mean, I do want the N64 controller because I am curious about the joystick itself. I want to know if they just went as
I thought about that. It's fascinating because when the original one came out, didn't they get into like lawsuits and stuff over the stick? And then they tried releasing like gloves and everything for it. Now they're just releasing it again. Won't it just happen again?
Play Mario Party with it. You get the same problems.
Mario Party, right?
Send the glove out with it.
What was your question about the controller, MVG?
I just want to know who's making them, like if it's Nintendo themselves or if it's like Retrobit or a third party that's making the controllers. Because the N64 one, like you mentioned, I mean, I am curious about the joystick, the analog stick, given the issues we've had with the N64 one in the past. And I got to be honest, I'm surprised that that they did actually just come out and bring out an N64 controller for this, even though it's really cool, and I'm obviously going to get one. I just wonder how it's going to translate to 2021 people trying to play that thing, because it's not easy sometimes playing N64.
Did you see where the home button and the snapshot button are?
Yep.
They're on the top.
They're on the top, yeah.
That's weird.
That is very weird.
Because they have the extra buttons, one of my first thoughts was, theoretically, I can play Turok 64 or even Quake 64 with an N64 controller now.
Wait, do you think so let's say Perfect Dark eventually comes over, can we get two of the controllers, sync them up, and do the dual analog stick thing with them?
Maybe.
As long as the game's code supports it, yeah.
I was informed that Rare games are not coming.
Okay, let's go to this real quick. Okay, so the games that are coming to the to the service starting out: Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Yoshi Story, Ocarina of Time, Winback, Mario Tennis, Dr. Mario 64, and Sin and Punishment. No one talked about Sin and Punishment because I just don't think a lot of people played it, but that's actually really cool to see that get dropped in there.
The game's awesome.
I don't think everyone was like Mario, Zelda, and then like Sin and Punishment, which they even dropped like the Japan box art right there and like next to it, the vertical box art. That was really cool to see. I think that's a good selection of games to start out with. That's
very good. Very good.
Yeah.
And the selection, the extra that are coming is insane.
Oh yeah, the extra ones. So these will have online play. I'm looking at Mario Kart 64. That's the big one. Star Fox will be big with online play. Mario Tennis is actually a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
So that'll be really cool to have that. But
F0X online.
Okay, so Sean was right. Go ahead, Sean. What were you right
Sean,
about?
Take your victory lap. Let's go.
I was adamant last week on the show that Rare Games would show up, and someone who will remain anonymous, they are an Englishman though, disagreed with me and said that it wasn't going to happen, but it did, and I'm very happy because
Banjo-Kazooie is coming to the Switch online or Nintendo Switch Online service. They had F-Zero, which was cool. That's thrown in there. Paper Mario is a very good game to throw in there, especially if, assume a lot of people missed out on that one now if you're obviously a bit younger. Definitely a good one to grab there. What was the other one they had?
This could be a dumb question, but do you think that opens the doors for more Rare games, or was that one just more likely because the IP of Banjo was already on Switch in Smash?
Potentially it does open the door to basically anything that Microsoft is willing to allow Nintendo to have. So theoretically, we could get Diddy Kong Racing because we have to remember Microsoft owns Banjo and Conquer, so they would need to approve.
Let's get real here, Nate.
Tooie, but this could be a one-off allowance because Banjo is in Smash Brothers. He has an amiibo, and this is just that curse.
Yeah, that was my thought. I'm like, well, he's already been licensed for Smash. It's not a stretch to think they would just keep that.
So what you're saying, this is a controlled thing. There's only one Rare game that's coming, not all of them.
I was asking a question that might have been
I'm directing this to Sean now. So are we walking this back? What's happening?
That is simply speculation, and to think that a game like Jet Force Gemini or even Perfect Dark won't come, I think is very short-sighted because
I actually agree. I mean, once they announce Banjo, I'm like, I think the door's open now, right? It has to be.
Let's get serious. Let's get serious here for a minute. All right. Is this finally how GoldenEye releases?
I don't think you're not getting GoldenEye. You're getting Perfect Dark at best.
Did we get GoldenEye?
No, the problem with GoldenEye is even though Nintendo has a hold on that game, there's like MGM and all these other stakeholders.
The word is that MGM's fine.
Doesn't Amazon own MGM now?
I thought the word was that the one holding it back was Nintendo because they said it'll never be on any other platform other than a Nintendo platform. Well, here it is.
The thing is, you have to get a meeting with all these companies that have a stake in GoldenEye in the same room, and all of them have to sign off on this, right? And so this is a completely new conversation all over again. This is not Xbox Live Arcade GoldenEye that we've already talked about. This is something else. So you have to get all these parties to agree on this, and I just feel like it's just too difficult. So I don't think it's going to come.
Especially when, although I might prefer GoldenEye from a nostalgia perspective, I mean, Perfect Dark is better.
Perfect Dark has levels from GoldenEye in it. Yeah. So yeah, I get that. But like,
also, would Nintendo have to pay MGM at that point too? Like, for all the sales, like a portion of it, maybe it might not be worth it to them. Like maybe they'd rather do something like Perfect Dark where they keep more of the profits.
They would, and it's a Bond game, right? So they'd have to pay them for it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. The kind of where that game is stuck right now, because it seems like it would line up for this, but yeah, that's unfortunate. They did Sega Genesis games as well. Gotta say, the Sega Genesis lineup, it's cool on paper, but like.
Musha.
It's cool on paper, but 9 of the 12 are already on Switch.
Musha's like a $1,000 game or something.
It is an expensive game.
Musha is the really cool one, but 9 of them are already on the platform, so it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's great because it just gets thrown in there with the Nintendo 64 games. So if you're buying this Friend 64, it's like, oh look, Genesis games with online play.
Gunstar Heroes is fantastic though, so the more people that get to play that, the better.
Yeah, I mean, you never know that they may add Sega CD later. You know, give us that Terminator
that had
with
like
one soundtrack,
game, didn't it?
32X, the 32X in there too. There's a whole book you can buy about it, so you can learn more about 32X. There it is. That's right next one. Okay, so we have the 2 controllers. Does $50 feel expensive for those controllers?
Genesis, yes, and
for the Genesis one, yeah.
He held that Genesis one up. He's like, "This is $50." I was like,
that doesn't feel right.
The N64 controller has to have rumble. If it doesn't have rumble, then $50 is way too expensive. If it has rumble, I can justify that price a little more in my head.
I like the idea of rumble. That's cool.
I don't think it's going to have rumble. Do you think it's going to have rumble?
They showed the box art of Star Fox 64 with the rumble pack.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. I will argue false marketing if it does not have rumble.
Oh, it does. Hold on, I'm zooming in.
But they could also argue that it's rumble if you're using Joy-Con or something, right?
I don't care. I will hold them to the coals.
Fair. Okay.
How dare they make us play Star Fox 64 without rumble feature?
You're not wrong though. That was one of the best parts of the game.
Yeah.
I remember when that game came out. This kid that I was friends with was like really rich. So he got everything when it first came out. And I had asked my parents to get me Star Fox 64 for some sort of event, birthday, or a good report card or something. And he was like, dude, you'll know if it's a game because the box is double the size than a regular N64 game. I was like, all right, cool. So in my mind, I'm thinking like height wise. And so I'm looking at like these GIFs. I'm like, where the fuck is Star Fox? And then I opened it up and I was like, oh, it's depth wise. It's twice as big.
They'll have USB-C as well. Yeah, USB-C on that 64 controller and the Genesis.
So how much do you think it's going to cost? Because I like NES and SNES a lot, but 64 is the one I care about those and not so much the others. But I have to pay more for this just to have it, and I have to pay weekly for it. Oh, monthly.
Yeah, it'll be yearly, so it'll be I think it'll be 30. Like I hope they don't try to push 40 out of this thing.
I think it's 10.
I think I think 35 tops.
Yeah.
See,
so like 10,
I agree with like
35.
$40 would be the absolute ceiling I go to, because for Sega Genesis, this is clearly something Nintendo had to license out. So they're paying Sega to put this platform on the service because Sega has to see some residuals from this.
Yeah,
so Nintendo has to raise the price some meaningful amount to justify that expense. $40 is the ceiling, but I could reasonably see $35 being as high as they go. Anything beyond 40 is just asking too much.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I'll still buy it, but I agree. Yo, N64 games online, man.
That is going to be really fun. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The fact that they come with online features is what does it too. If they didn't have the online features, it'd be weird to ask for more money for them.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, we're going to be able to play Mario Kart 64 Balloon Battle online.
That's insane when you think about it. Like, that's like perfect timeline situation.
And the updates will actually be more exciting now because they can pull from like the N64 library randomly.
Until we get the update month where it's Brian and Quest 64.
No Brian.
64. I'm waiting for them to just drop Mega Man 64 on there because I think that'd be awesome. So let's do that, Nintendo.
Wouldn't
let's
it
get
be
that
crazy if like they add DLC to like Mario Kart 64, like they add in like a new mode or something to play online? We get DLC for a 64 game in 2022.
But they do those random releases they don't announce where it's basically like a ROM hack kind of. So they could do something weird with that.
That would be insane. Think of them announcing Mario Kart 64 DLC coming 2022
before Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
You can play as Link from Ocarina of Time in Mario Kart 64.
Dude, I would pay money for that.
I do hope they're able to get, like I said in my video talking about it, you know, they can't do games like No Mercy and Revenge and stuff like that, but Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 I think would have the best chance, because that would be fucking amazing to play it online, and I would probably play nothing else.
Anyone else surprised Wave Race wasn't announced?
That's coming, right?
A little bit, but that's got to be on the list, right?
Why wasn't it on the two? Like
that could have taken the spot of what's that game called?
The only thing I can think of is the Kawasaki, the Kawasaki branding. That they
see if the Kawasaki branding is going to be something that could potentially hold back Wave Race, we're probably not going to get Pilot Wing 64 either.
Where's 1080 snowboarding?
Doesn't it have branding on there as well?
Yes.
I feel like those games are going to come, but they're probably just going to ROM hack some of that stuff out.
Yeah, ROM hack the logos out. And
yeah.
I was downright offended the fact that no Chameleon Twist representation was there. No 1 or 2, and that's
sorry to hear.
There's still time, Jordan. There's still time.
There's still time.
You are representing the reptiles right now with that T-shirt. So
Absolutely.
you're doing your part, Mike.
I'm trying. Nate, we are missing Game Boy. That's the one. It's weird. We were all like, a lot of people were so sure that Game Boy was going to be there. Everyone was like, maybe 64. I don't know, but Game Boy, yeah. Like,
Game Boy is still to come. I mean, this is the thing. People will be like, "Oh, where is it? You lied to us." Yes, I lied to you, and Eurogamer lied to you, and Nintendo lied to you, and Andy of Video Game Chronicles lied to you, and Emily Rogers lied to you. It seems as though a lot of people in the industry are aware that Game Boy and Game Boy Color are coming to Nintendo Switch Online. And if the focus of the presentation in the Direct was strictly the expansion pass, it would have been a really odd occurrence to talk about the base tier and new additions for that service. So let's see what October brings. Maybe they talk about Game Boy and Game Boy Color being brought to the base tier then.
Could that just be a Twitter? Could that just be a Twitter thing? Like we just drop it on there?
Yep.
If they don't have any hardware or accessories to sell alongside the Game Boy additions, they don't need to make that a direct announcement. That could easily just be a Twitter, like, we're introducing Game Boy this week. Cool. Along with these horrendous NES and Super NES editions coming this month.
Honestly,
but what if there's a Pokemon game in there?
Then people will be very excited.
I feel like that could be a bigger announcement though, like somewhere.
I think that is pretty big.
I was gonna say, I mean, I could even see it dropping with like Metroid. Like they're like, Metroid's out today, and by the way, you can play Metroid 2 on the Game Boy because we're making it available today. So
might as well buy 2 copies now. All right.
I know they won't because they're lazy, but I don't know. They did surprise me with the online stuff for the N64. Can we please have Super Game Boy options for games like Metroid? Because like that game literally had a color palette designed for Metroid 2 in it. And many games had that, where it was a specific color palette that looked as much like, the game that it was based on would look in color.
Pokemon Pinball?
So now that we have an expansion pack that people are going to be paying for, do you think if they, I mean, it sounds like you do, but they brought like Game Boy and other consoles to Switch, they wouldn't add it into the paid tier? They would just give it away for free?
I don't know if Game Boy and Game Boy Color are part of the expansion pass for the higher price tier. My expectation is that it would be included in just the base tier of the $20 a year. So, I mean, that's just like my speculation of where they would place it, because those aren't really exciting platforms, to be honest.
No,
N64
really.
and Sega Genesis are more exciting. N64's 3D graphics, and Game Boy and Game Boy Color just kind of feel like an extension of that NES era of gaming. They're very simplistic games, monochrome. So if you include that for the $20, especially since we know that NES and Super NES, while it's going to continue, it seems as though they're basically scrapping at the bottom of the barrel at this point to find quality releases, because they don't want to give us Earthbound. They don't want to give us Mario RPG. So this way they can still satisfy that $20 base with new additions by giving you, Samus Returns or Mario or Donkey Kong 94 and Mario and, Mario Land and stuff like that on a bi-monthly or however they update the service forward.
Game Boy Color in the $20 tier. Game Boy Advanced in that.
I was going to say, at
tier.
what point do you hit expansion like GBA?
I think so. I don't
think GBA exists. I don't think GBA exists.
Oh, whoa. Interesting.
I mean, maybe for next year, but I mean, at this point, Game Boy Advance is not on the docket. But that can easily change moving into 2022 when they begin to look at additional systems to introduce to the service.
That's too much. It'd be too much fun.
Plus
GameCube,
$10.
That would be the plus.
Expansion pack plus.
I do love the name though of the expansion.
That is good marketing.
Yeah,
I'll give them that.
The expansion pack from the N64. That's brilliant.
I thought that was really cool. I caught that right away.
Yeah, this was actually a good time for Nintendo to mess it up, and they came up with a good marketing term. So I'll give them credit on that. Evan, we have Discord question over there.
Have you ever fallen asleep while playing a game?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
There's a friend. I had a friend who we play Halo 3. I think we played Halo 3 for like 10 hours straight, and he had been drinking like the last half. And he was falling asleep with like the controller in his hand while we were like playing online. So we had to like keep hitting him to wake him up. That's all I remember. I haven't fallen asleep playing a game.
I finished Resident Evil 5 in co-op with my high school friend in one sitting, and we had fun, but by the end, we were falling asleep for sure.
This is oh, here we go. Okay. X Trash lost to PlayStation. Says Master Chief.
I think it's an attempt at a spoiler. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let me have Sean says, Miss Click, can you rant as Toad about something? That was before you did your other impressions. You're good.
Got you.
Ten Derek says, why is Crystal Dynamics working on everything but Tomb Raider during Tomb Raider's anniversary? Avengers and the Initiative deal seems like a spit in the face to Tomb Raider fans.
That is actually a Discord as well. Thoughts on Crystal Dynamics working on Perfect Dark?
Yeah, that's going to be our final topic that we're going to get into after I read through these. So we'll touch on that as well. Video Game Dude says, I love everyone here, but RGT85 and Miss Click have a special place in my heart this week. PS Nintendo, kill it this week. Yeah,
kill it every week.
Worthy says, chill, I'm a diehard PlayStation fan, but I also love Nintendo too. Yunin says, if Metroid doesn't sell 3 million, RGT's prize should be he gets to choose a Spawncast member to play through all of Cyberpunk 2077 on base Xbox One with no patches.
Why are we getting dragged into this?
I already beat Cyberpunk, but I beat it on the PS5, so I'm not touching it on the Xbox.
I think
all right, Sean, just go ahead and say yes if that's what you want us to do.
Okay.
All right. Well, we tried. Michael says, did any of you catch Foundation on Apple TV? Not sure if your nerdiness goes to sci-fi flicks. Also, Cruising is the greatest game regarding fun this year.
I want to watch Foundation. I haven't sat down to check it out yet, but it looks pretty cool.
Okay. Jordan can report back on that one. Cyber says, love seeing Wood on the Spawncast. RGC, take a look at Gas Station Simulator. There's a guy named Dennis who might be more up your alley since Kenna didn't stick.
Thank you.
Screw Dennis. Screw. I hate Dennis. He keeps drawing penises on the wall with wings. He's just the worst. Screw you, Dennis. I hate you.
Stefan says 2 months ago, alleged Disney Music employee posted about Nintendo asking for approval to use music on an event on October 5th. Exact Sakurai presents date. So this is gonna come up in a Spawncast, obviously. Following me, actually, that's when we're at too many games, isn't it? Who do we think the Smash character is? Go ahead and put the prediction in now.
Pokemon.
It's big enough for them to not just drop it here and then say, learn more about this character at Sakurai Presents, which is his final one. By the way, that might be the last time we see Sakurai for
ever.
That might be it.
Doing it separately, as whether it's a giant presentation or not. I think he's probably just going to be like, yo, like,
he's going to have that sign off
later, I guess, maybe.
Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
He's probably so burnt out.
Yeah, I wonder if he wants to make another video game.
He said in his interview that recently that as long as he can keep working, he will. Like, he doesn't really, like, he wants to work as long as he's able to. And part of me is like, that's great. That's also a workaholic mentality. Like,
yeah, but maybe he can like jump into like an executive producer role where he's just literally more hands off. You know, he's not doing day-to-day stuff and really just killing himself. You know, I think if he's overseeing projects and he's less hands on, that would really suit him, I think, going forward.
Yeah, I think you're in the right position to go do some kind of creative project that he wants to do, some original thing, if that's what he wants. Like, if he wants to make another Kid Icarus, great, but if he's like, I kind of want to do something with this IP that Nintendo has, or just my own, then yeah.
But would anyone else not be upset if he said, 5 more characters?
They were serious in that direct too. They were like, this is it. No more after this. Leave him alone.
They need to license the Doors song. This is the end.
I was like, this game came out in 2018. This is
Leave me alone.
We're done. We're moving on.
I found it convenient timing. It probably is nothing, but you realize that Direct is on the same day that Nick Brawl clone Smash Brothers game comes out.
Oh.
Kind of seems like interesting timing.
Well, who do you...
Doug.
Okay, so, it's Doug. Who do you think the character is here? Is it Sora? Do they finally just finish it out and they're like, here it is. You guys asked for it. This is it.
That'd be too good, in my opinion.
Would it though?
Yeah.
I could think of a million characters I would prefer.
Okay, go ahead. Name them, Sean. Let's hear it. Let's hear who's over Sora.
Ryu from Ninja Gaiden, Dante.
Too many sword characters.
Crash Bandicoot.
You think any one of those characters would get a bigger reaction than Sora?
Crash.
It's because a lot
Crash
of
have a big one.
I mean, that's the thing. I don't give a fuck about anyone else's reaction. I care about what I think and what I like. And those are the characters I would like to see. I don't care about Sora. Don't care.
I feel like it needs to be a character that kind of like captures that mentality of like ultimate, like be all end all, like it's all been building up to this kind of thing. I don't know what that would be, but it would just be weird to go out with like something kind of random. Like
it's a Fire Emblem character.
We already had Sephiroth though. I mean, that would have been
a cool one to end on.
Yeah, because he cut it in half and everything, like the whole.
Yeah,
like that.
Actually, that would have been a sick one to end on. So if they have something better than that planned, it's got to be cool.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised though if Nintendo like told him, "Hey, we're launching first party for the last one to wrap it up," like. And he'd be like, "Are you sure?" Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they told him to like launch it out of an order that we think it should be otherwise. Like, part of me is worried that it's something kind of like mid-tier.
Dude, that's a classic episode.
Yeah,
I will say that Sora does kind of capture that mentality of like a bunch of things coming together. So it does make sense.
When the kids on the
All of us are just singing a Reptar song at this point.
Somebody called.
Yeah, Sora.
Moms.
Yeah, Sora would be the big one. I think that people have asked for Sora or Goku. I think most people understand Goku's not coming. So
Or Chief. I think Chief would be the other
What
one.
about Kratos?
Master Chief. Kratos.
God of War's hot right now.
Master Chief lining up with Infinite coming out.
Master Chief would be pretty big. That would be like, okay, that's pretty
You would
cool.
have to have a Halo game on the Switch.
You could do the first few games
or on a Nintendo platform. If they released Halo DS, you could get away with it, but
what about Balan Wonderworld? What about a character from that game?
Acura again, an Astral Chain rep. I think that'd be cool.
I got to agree with Jeffrey Grubb here.
What's
the
that?
only disappointment would be if the character is actually Waluigi.
Why?
Would that be disappointing?
Would be happy with that.
That'd be kind of cool.
No,
fuck Waluigi.
The internet would break.
Waluigi number one.
He's the only
Twitter complaining about Waluigi not being in the game. If it was actually Waluigi, I'd be like, "Good job, guys! You just gave it to a spot that could have gone."
He's the only main Nintendo character cast member that isn't in the game.
But here's the thing: the thing I've noticed about with Sakurai is he'll have people, come to these presentations saying, "Oh, just one thing's gonna be shown here," and then he'll show all kinds of like Mii Fighter costumes, all kinds of different things, music even. I almost wonder if he just has a massive blowout of stuff outside of just the character to show as well. So you might see
like a
maybe all kinds of stuff thrown in there just to finish everything out. So that'd be kind of cool. I'm looking forward to it because I think Sakurai will have like a speech at the end and all of this. So that'll be interesting to see.
That's what he says. Yeah, I'm done.
Jalen says multiple characters.
I wondered that too. If they just said, you know what? No, there's like 3 characters. Here you go.
I mean, you do have a character like the Pokemon trainer, which is like 3 Pokemon. Could be something like that.
Jalen says, looking at the cast of the new Super Mario movie is probably going to be a love it or hate it. Johnny Boy says, who should play Wart in the Mario movie?
Sean.
There you go.
I'm Waluigi.
Derek says no.
Oh, you're Wario.
I mean, that's what I meant.
You're all of them.
This is from Derek Clay saying, no disrespect intended, but can you guys explain why you like Bayonetta games? I just don't understand the appeal of this series at all.
Gameplay
is big,
Gameplay.
obviously.
Okay, yeah.
Story.
Yeah, totally. That's totally why. It's totally not because she's majority of the time naked.
No, it's not. If I want naked, I was going
to say, I don't think Sean cares about video game boobies.
It'll be all right.
Robo says,
dear God.
Nintendo AAA is $60. RGT 85's opinions priceless.
Not wrong.
Worthy says, why the upset of Chris Pratt being Mario? Give the man a chance. Aren't Europeans considered white? Wasn't Mario created by a Japan company?
You know what's funny? When I talked about this on my stream the other day, people came up with the craziest rationalizations for this. Someone even said, well, it's probably hard for Charles to keep up that voice for extended periods of time, so he probably didn't want to do the whole like why are you trying to create excuses? It's weird. It doesn't make sense.
I just think it's because he's pretty cool.
He is so cool.
He's so cool.
He's so cool.
Frankie says, what's everyone's anticipated game announced for this year? Halo Infinite. Bring it on.
For the rest of the year?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing anymore.
What's even coming other than that at this point?
Metroid
Dread.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
Oh yeah.
still Halo, honestly, but I'm excited for Dread.
I just want to play as Cat Dog in Nicktoons Brawl.
Still
N64 games.
Still alive said, I heard the ActRaiser remake was not good. Any of you tried out yet to say? Yes, we did. It's not good.
Hot garbage.
Strawman says Mario movies casting as Nintendo hinting Chris Pratt is the final Smash Fighter. We have Larry T says congrats on 600k subscribers.
It's Mario,
Happy early
but voiced as Chris Pratt.
5-year anniversary on YouTube, John. Thanks for all the awesome content. Demi says wonder what will be a score better, Sonic 2 or Mario? We scored better, Sonic 2 or Mario?
Movies.
Oh, the sequel.
Movies.
Oh,
That depends on how good the Mario movie actually is. Sonic already now has a fan base established for the movie, so it's easy to be like, oh, Sonic 2, clearly. But yeah, we all we know is literally voices for this movie.
Yeah.
I think probably Mario. I mean, that's kind of where I'm leaning towards.
I hear voices in my
I don't know about that.
They counsel me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not placing.
I think it's gonna be bad.
Oh,
I don't think maybe we'll know until we see a trailer or something.
no, yeah, we have to see these voices coming out of these characters.
Sequels don't always suck. Terminator 2 is better than Terminator 1.
That's factual.
Talking
John-
about Mario.
And Godfather Part 2 is in many ways superior to the original.
That's factual.
It absolutely is.
John Collins says, will there be an OLED Switch Lite? I hope so.
Maybe.
Brendan says Mario movie will probably be enjoyable, if not amazing. Been playing ActRaiser Renaissance as I never played the original. If you don't like tower defense, stay away. If you do, it's good on Switch. Hear that, MVG?
Just play the original, man. Trust me.
It's expensive, though.
Worthy says just have to say it. Monster Hunter Rise was cool. Monster Hunter World was way better. Sorry, had to be said.
I think it depends on how you like combat.
Traversal system. I can't imagine playing a Monster Hunter game without that traversal system in it.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. Yep.
Video game
the wire too.
Yeah.
Video game dude says I told coworkers that RGT85 should have voiced Bowser. They looked at me with a confounded look and told me to clock out for the night. As I walked out, I said, "You're missing out," and left.
Good.
There you go, Sean.
Thank you for taking a stand.
Game
He could have said so long.
Any thoughts on Last of Us Day tomorrow? DLC factions, maybe. PS Jordan, you're my favorite Pokemon. It'll probably be heavy disappointment with apparel. Like it'll probably just be clothing line and stuff.
Here's how to eat humans.
Couple of wallpapers to download.
They already announced the clothing line. I saw it on social media. I think
more
yesterday.
clothing.
They had like Carhartt jackets and.
I'd like to think they're gonna announce factions because like everyone like wants factions, but that's usually when it doesn't get announced. So
I don't think it's getting announced.
Steve says finally got a PS5 and paired it with a new LG CX OLED TV. Immediately played Untitled Goose Game. My God, the upgrade in graphic fidelity is crazy. Really feels like you are a mischievous goose. There you go.
What the hell?
Makes sense. My support while watching SC and play Halo Infinite. Strawman says if they cast John Leguizamo somewhere in this Mario movie,
John Leguizamo, man.
Leguizamo?
that would tie all this together. He voiced Sid in Illumination's Ice Age and played Luigi in the
original Luigi.
Yeah.
There you go.
He also played the clown in the Spawn movie.
He was in The Pest.
He was in John Wick.
Keynote says Snowboard Kids 2 or Rayman 2 for N64 Online would make me a happy camper. Any games?
Snowboard Kids would be fucking dope.
Oh, that would be cool. Any games you'd like to see added down the line? I want Snowboard Kids. Yeah. That's what I want.
Yes, please.
Okay, let's go over to our last topic here. And I'll have a few super chats come back. Evan, we have Discord questions still over there?
Still got a bunch, yeah.
You want to start going through some now as I pull up the tweet?
In honor put up by the initiative. In honor of Kina, what are some of your favorite games in terms of animation? I love Gigantic's animation. That was flawless.
You know a lot of the trailers they've shown for Metroid Dread, like there's pretty good animations when Samus is like interacting with the environment around her.
The switch between 2D and 3D.
Well, that and like even just like running up to like a ledge, they show Samus like put her like hand on the side of like the background while she's shooting down like the hallway, things like that. Like it looks really good.
I personally really liked the look of Metroid Other M. I think that was a really pretty game. It's one of the prettiest games on the Wii. But I think Kana, I think is what they call it now. Kana, I think actually took the spot as like it hit me at the end. I was like, oh my God, this is this is just beautiful. It's
Luigi's Mansion 3 should be in the conversation.
Luigi's Mansion 3 is beautiful. Yeah, you're not wrong.
You can go another one, Evan.
Which Vita exclusive hunting series needs a remake or revival on modern consoles? Freedom Wars or Soul Sacrifice?
Freedom Wars. I like Freedom Wars a lot. That was a good game.
Is it true that digital games prices have to be equal to physical games due to non-compete laws?
For MSRP?
Yeah.
Yeah, to my knowledge, they have to be basically the same if it's going to be in stores like that. Otherwise, the retailers would be at a disadvantage. Although retailers, they mark it down like Walmart. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Do you think the Switch successor will be backwards compatible?
It better be.
Yes.
Better fucking be.
Yeah, if it's not, that'd be weird because it would use cartridges unless it's all digital. Never know.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
All digital. If Bobby Kotick gets fired, will that be a good step forward for Activision?
No, because some other
it's a lot more internal
take
stuff.
his place. I mean, it's one of those things you cut off the head, 3 more appear type of thing. So I don't necessarily think that's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
unfortunately.
Anyone interested in the Hot Wheels game coming out in a week?
Yes. Forza?
Yeah.
It's coming out in a week.
Yeah, I'm picking up. It's on. It's the 30th. It's the 30th.
Yeah, 30th.
It's the 30th.
I mean, I'm kind of waiting.
Unleashed.
I'm kind of waiting on the Amico version.
Wait, is this not the Amico version?
No. That one's not out yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab it for the Xbox on the 30th.
I'll probably pick it up.
Yep, I will be getting it.
On Game Pass by any chance?
I don't believe so.
All right, then I'll pay for it, I guess.
Do you think Deltarune Chapter 2 would be a contender for Game of the Year?
Probably, because people are weirdos.
Yeah, it's not even a complete game.
Not a Game of the Year, no.
I don't mean the first Chapter 1 wasn't even talked about there. So I'd say probably not, but
could that be ongoing or something?
When it completes, I have a feeling they're going to tie it all together and just sell it as a full package. So maybe then.
Okay.
IGN is apparently running the greatest game of all time bracket, and the final will likely be happening between God of War 2018 and GTA 5. What's your pick between the two?
Based on what happened with game
kids are so stupid.
So game FAQs or game facts did this a couple of times. They did it with characters and they did it with games, and it always ended in pure chaos and anger. So I have to imagine this is the same thing, but I have no idea how out of all the games that exist, God of War and Grand Theft Auto 5 are the last ones standing, specifically Grand Theft Auto 5, because that's weird.
A lot of it is kind of meme voting based, because even when it came across on Instagram stories where you could vote directly on there, I was just choosing for chaos. Whatever I chose was just to cause
that was the
chaos.
big thing with the game facts bracket that happened. the whole meme then was that they were going to make sure Undertale won no matter what. So Undertale went up against Ocarina of Time. Undertale won 70% to 30%, for example.
Wow.
Yeah, they just blasted through it, and it was so funny because everyone was getting really mad because they were just trying to drive votes to it just so that Undertale wins over these big games.
It sounds like user Metacritic review type things.
That said, I'm going with God of War.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd pick God of War.
There you go.
You sure?
I think so.
Did you hate the combat for that one too?
No, it was actually good.
Grand Theft Auto 5 was a really good Xbox 360 game, though.
Right.
This is Victor says, love our boy, the Fringe Factor. By the way, who's making the change.org to change the name of Triangle Strategy? Not enough people, apparently. Joel says, Nick's going to be the 6th seed. Agree, Sean? It's from Joel.
I think they'll get 5 easy. Honestly, East is being overrated.
This is from Ethan. It says it's Ethan Miguel, compound first name like Billy Bob. They say everyone go like RGT's last video to make him play YouTuber's life.
I did a like challenge because I'm talking about the games coming up. I saw this game YouTuber's Life 2, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I looked at it and I was like, oh wow, this looks horrible. This is nothing like my life. So I did if it gets 4,000 likes, I'll buy it and do a review on it and compare it to my life.
Okay, Edward King brings us right into our last topic. I don't get the outrage for the initiative and CD situation. Do people expect a 70-person studio make a AAA game by themselves? The initiative is all the veteran leads, while Crystal Dynamics is the extra manpower. This from the initiative. Perfect Dark update. We are partnering with Crystal Dynamics, the world-class team behind character-driven games such as Tomb Raider, to bring this first-person spy thriller to a new generation. The teams couldn't pass up a chance to work together. We're still early in development, but incredibly excited to use this unique opportunity to deliver on the vision for Perfect Dark. A little concept art there.
What did you guys think about this announcement?
I was confused. Like, why? Why do I have to know this information?
2 reasons.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. What they had to have thought this was good news. That had been like, all right, this is going to be great. Let's get that concept art real nice, because they got like Joanna here, grabbing a guy, shooting. They got Perfect Dark, Initiative. They got Crystal Dynamics right next to each other. They put it out thinking that this was people were going to be happy, excited. It's like, wow, Crystal Dynamics.
I don't think it's bad news.
They just did Marvel's Avengers. This is going to be amazing.
So I don't think this is bad news for Perfect Dark. I think it might be bad news for Crystal Dynamics. Ooh. Because the fact that Microsoft is able to outsource this type of studio means Square Enix really doesn't have much for them to do right now.
Yeah, I was going to say
support for Avengers, and that is kind of concerning. But I also view this is kind of a positive thing for Perfect Dark. They're looking for a talented studio to assist them on this. I also think this may be a test run for Microsoft to evaluate Crystal Dynamics and potentially consider buy them from Square Enix in the future.
Do you think Initiative would just absorb Crystal Dynamics if this worked out? Because the head at the Initiative is from Crystal Dynamics.
Yes, I think it's the familiarity between the head of the Initiative and the team there that made this unison possible. This is probably something that has been in the pipeline for a long time. And now this is just the opportunity to say, let's make this public. I mean, this was basically a press release. This is something they wanted out there. They wanted everyone to know. Then they made it a spectacle.
That has to be the way it's going. Like, they have to be looking at this as, we're going to absorb them if this works. Like, if
I think Square's had enough. They saw the Avengers and they were kind of like, we're not really jiving right now. And Microsoft's sitting there saying, you know what? Let's give them an opportunity to work on Perfect Dark. If it works out well for us, we'll buy you.
I will come to Crystal Dynamics' defense here, because I think if they were not put in the situation where they needed to make a Destiny game out of the Avengers, I feel like they probably would have made a better game.
Okay. Yes. You guys are missing the point here. Like, this is an unusual tweet, right? Like, that something is off about this. Like, as soon as I saw this, I was like, why is this announcement even being made? Now, before you tell me that it's, developers partner up and outsource with other companies, yes, that happens all the time. The concept of like outsourcing studios working on a project, it happens all the time. It's like the rule rather than the exception, right? Every single studio will outsource. I mean, if you look at the end credits for like an Ubisoft game or Call of Duty, there's going to be like 10 studios that were involved, right? Yes. So there's always going to be multiple studios involved. And in fact, let's talk about Quake, right? So I shipped Quake with Night Dive. We had Machine Games, we had id, we had Bethesda, and ourselves. That's like four different parties working on one game. Multiple studios are always working on games at the same time, and that's why I think this is unusual. Because why the announcement for this, right? Why tell us that Crystal Dynamics is working on this game with us, right? Because when the credits roll in Perfect Dark, it's going to be Crystal Dynamics plus 4 other companies, right? That have not been announced in a press release. So I think something's up with this game. I think Perfect Dark is not in a good place, and I think Crystal Dynamics is there to basically execute on the vision, right? I'm not saying it's like really, really bad, but I'm just saying that I feel like the game is not in a great place. Crystal Dynamics have a really good track record of executing. They know how to ship games. They know how to get games over the finish line. And I think this is why this was announced. I think there's something up with this game. Like, that's the only thing I can come up with.
I mean, let's be realistic here. There's been 2 Perfect Dark games. One was good, one wasn't.
Yep.
Yeah. It is interesting. They were like, oh, we need to save this game. Who do we get? Let's get the people who did Marvel's Avengers.
Oh, I mean, they've done other stuff.
I know. It's just probably the familiarity, like Nate was saying, with the head of initiative now, really, who's over there. Obviously knows Crystal Dynamics. But you know what, MVG, you might be right. Maybe this was a soft announcement, basically, of Crystal Dynamics almost part of the Microsoft family. Wait for that press release in a few months.
Well, I mean, it could be just it could be the precedent for acquiring them at a later stage. But I know that there's some history, right? Like the person that runs the initiative now worked at Crystal Dynamics, so he knows the team there. And that's, I mean, I get that, right? I mean, you bring on the people that and you've worked with in the past because you know that they're going to get the job done for you. But I just felt like the whole thing was weird to me. Like these things don't happen, like announcements like this that you're partnering with another company on a game just doesn't really happen.
The problem I'm seeing here, just from the outside looking in and based on everyone's reaction, is that the initiative was built up as this, like, with this mystique around it, as this like insanely talented like studio that we've never seen before in gaming. This is it right here. This is one of the job listings that people always point to, and it might have been a typo. It was like quadruple A. I don't even know what that means. Like, what is that? Quadruple A. And people obviously see the hirings, that's one of the most popular things that people seem to point to for everything. Even like Metroid Prime 4, it seemed like constantly people were like, look, they're hiring this person from the God of War team. They're hiring this person from Call of Duty team or something.
Uncharted.
Uncharted. That's the biggest thing, is like they're building it up in their mind that the initiative is going to put out a game that is somehow rated higher than a 10 or something. And now they're like, wait, they need help?
And yeah, but that's how it was kind of marketed though, right? As like,
it was kind of marketed that way. Yeah.
Industry legends, forming this like amazing studio that were going to do some really cool shit together. And again, every studio outsources. Like it's not uncommon, but it's just the whole thing around this just seems a little weird to me. That's all. I just think it was an unusual tweet, and I still stand by it.
Here's the other thing. How far off are we from Perfect Dark? Like, if they're bringing Crystal Dynamics in now and they're like, all right, let's get to work. It's like, well, hold on, what have you been doing?
I'd say 24. We'll see Perfect Dark.
Man, 3 years from now. Oh.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, that was my other thought. I saw this and I was like, okay, they need help for some reason. And I was like, wait, when's Perfect Dark coming out?
Help them, MVG. What are you doing?
Well, I mean, and it's okay if they need help, but why announce it?
Nate's right. That's though.
The thing. They announced it. Like, this is a deliberate announcement. This is something they wanted people to know. When typically you see other developers outsource, it's quiet. No one knew that the Quake project that Night Dive was doing also had some involvement from Machine Gun Games. Right. Come out and announce that. So the fact that they came out and wanted this marketed is, we want everyone to know Crystal Dynamics is assisting on this project. And maybe it's just Microsoft wanted Perfect Dark in the headlines again, and they saw an opportunity and they took it. But it just feels as though there's something bigger going on behind here. And I think it's going to be that Microsoft is contemplating the idea of acquiring Crystal Dynamics within the next 2 years. This is their test run, and they want to make this public a little early on. I don't think it's necessarily a reflection of the status of the game and the state that it is in. It felt way too deliberate for us to really be able to look at it and say, oh, it must mean Perfect Dark's in a rough state. Perfect Dark could be flowing perfectly smooth, and they were just coming out with this announcement just to give a very brief update that they have acquired a very talented AAA studio. Well, not acquired, they have assigned a AAA studio to assist with development and give us a very modest develment update on the project.
It parallels that feeling of like with Metroid Prime 4, minus the hey, we're kind of starting over bit. It's just like, hey, look, this other studio is, and not in this sense like taking over completely, but hey, look at this studio you all know by name is jumping in and working on it.
At least on LinkedIn, it says Crystal Dynamics has 332 employees. Now, I don't know if those are all developers, obviously, because you have other people there for that marketing stuff. So
talk of the town. You're not supposed to be looking on that website.
Well, I just typed in how many employees does Crystal Dynamics have, and it's like that. So I don't know how many developers like that breaks down to, but they have many more than initiatives, like 70 people. So they have like many more than the initiative, and that would be a large workforce to bring in overnight if they can.
Let's put it this way. We first heard of Perfect Dark roughly not quite a year ago. Yeah. Or about 9 months.
Game Awards. Man.
What if Crystal Dynamics was involved with this project since then, and they just decided to announce it now? And it was always the plan. Crystal Dynamics was going to be assisting on this project, and this is just a chance that they decided to make it public.
Then why announce it if they were always working on it? Like, they probably were always working on it. Why announce it? Like, is it good PR or is it just asking questions? Like what Jordan said, is it, if it's shades of Metroid Prime 4, that's not a good thing, right?
What's the alternative? They don't announce it. Somebody on YouTube or something looks into it and sees that they're now working hand in hand on this kind of project, and they never told me one. It's like one of those, it's secret, they must be fucking up and they don't want anyone to know kind of situations.
I think Nate's onto something though. If that's the case, let's say Crystal Dynamics has been working on this the whole time with the initiative, like from the start. Maybe Microsoft has like decided, okay, we're going to move on this because we're seeing what's happening, and they're actually coming up with a good game, or at least progressing on it better without Microsoft having to be really hands-on. Because that was the thing with Microsoft, is like there was talks that mismanagement and stuff above these studios was leading to some of these releases being kind of poor. Like we saw what happened with Crackdown. That wasn't good. So I mean, maybe they saw it and they're like, let's let people know that they're working together, because we're probably going to move on this. Maybe they will acquire Crystal Dynamics in a year or two.
I still say something's off about this. We'll see.
Yeah. Getting that cyberpunk feel?
No, because it's still very early, right? We're not about to ship or anything, but I don't know.
They don't have chairs yet.
Right.
But they will.
I think it's a bigger tell of what is happening at Crystal Dynamics, that the fact that Square Enix is willing to outsource them to Microsoft, because that's really telling that Square Enix has nothing on their plate to give Square Enix. This is their internal studio. This is a company Square Enix owns. And for them to say, hey, Microsoft, you can have them. Yeah. Work on Perfect Dark for you. I think that's more concerning than the state of Perfect Dark.
So let's finish up with the super chats. And Evan, we have Discords left over there.
Just a couple. One was asking.
Let's finish up those before we finish up here.
One was asking if we think Nintendo watches Newswave just because of how the announcements always tend to happen just after we post stuff.
Oh, they definitely do. Yeah, no question.
And the other is, anyone else hoping that the N64 stick is close to how the original felt, like out of box, I guess, not later on when it just flops around and does whatever.
I kind of think it's going to be. I kind of think it's going to be almost exactly the same. That's sort of exciting, because then it's like buying a brand new N64 controller from Nintendo. That'd be fun.
Then we need online Mario Party 2 so we can get blisters in the middle of our hands.
Oh, gosh.
Do you think it'll come with a glove just like those? When they send them out?
Yes.
It'd be good.
For $50, it better come with the glove.
Does anyone plan on playing with it enough to even make the stick go loose? It does take a while.
Go limp.
I do. There's no way to talk about the N64 stick and it not sound wrong.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Evan. And finish up the last question. Okay, cool. Okay, let me finish up with a few super chats here. First, though, let me go over to our guest here as we do some outros as well while I'm reading through these. We had Wood from Beat 'em Ups. Thanks for joining us. I have his channel down below in the description. Make sure you check it out. And I will be on his podcast Monday night.
Yeah, very excited. We're gonna go over some Nintendo Direct stuff if you guys haven't talked about that yet.
Wow, we haven't. Yeah, that'd be the first time.
But other stuff as well, for sure.
Yeah, we'll have some fun over there. We'll talk about all kinds of stuff. It'll be a good time. That'll be Monday night. It's gonna be on Twitch or YouTube as well, or just Twitch.
It'll be Twitch, and then the audio versions everywhere, and video later on YouTube.
Awesome, cool. So make sure you check out Wood Beat 'em Ups.
Thank you.
You got anything to say, Wood? Anything else?
Thanks for having me. It's been a long time, and I had a blast. Felt like I didn't have much input the last 20 minutes, but for the first most of it, I loved it. It was great. Thank you so much.
Fun. And we'll be at, most of us, we'll be at Too Many Games.
Yeah, that's actually really exciting. I'll be seeing a lot of you and more at Too Many Games in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's getting close. It's very close. Yeah.
I'll be watching the panel live.
No, you won't.
Why won't I be?
Because they slotted us in when Scott's panel's going on.
I'll be watching your panel live.
So we'll just be kind of hanging out. All of us and 3 people. We'll just be hanging out. No, Scott's panels are really good. Like the last one he did was like it was awesome. So
yeah, but you guys are my friends, and I want to watch you guys.
Oh, see, there you go. There you go.
I'll be watching Scott's panel.
We're like, where's Jordan?
I'll be right next to you, Jordan. It'll be great.
What happened to Jordan? We got Sean. Where can everyone find you?
I'm at RGT85. Like someone had said earlier, if you want to watch me play YouTuber's Life 2 and make a video on it, go watch my video from today and give it a little likesy. Make sure you watch some ads too, so I can make some money.
Okay, we have a couple minutes to finish up here, so we can get to Halo Infinite before that locks up at midnight. Okay. Grant Taylor says, is anyone nervous about the Bayonetta enemy design? One of my favorite parts of the first game was the enemy creativity and design. The enemies in the trailer look really generic, which makes me nervous.
Well, there's a whole discussion about that too, because technically humans aren't really supposed to be able to see demons or angels, but they can see this one. So it might not be a demon and it might not be an angel. It could be disguised as something else. We don't know. There's a lot of
more info.
Yeah.
A lot of questions.
Yeah.
Dude says, my retro tank does a beautiful job of upscaling my retro consoles with HD Retrovision cables, but sometimes it has a pretty aggressive vertical flicker. Any advice? I still need to get one. I've been trying. They're very hard to get.
Upgrade the firmware, because there's firmwares coming out like almost every week. So yeah. I would start with that at least.
Okay. King says, in regards to Animal Crossing, I want an Animal Crossing Cross Wave Race update. Give me jet skis and barrel rolls. Throne says the woman who's writing for the KOTOR remake, it's been on record saying she doesn't like Star Wars and people are afraid she'll make Revan a woman.
I mean, I don't care about that. It's just, if you don't like Star Wars, are you really the best person to be making that?
It's kind of like, it's kind of like me. He doesn't like games, but I'll give him a 9 out of 10.
Make a Sonic game, Jordan.
Yeah, it's like me making a Sonic game.
Watch Jordan makes one. He makes like the best game ever. Like it has to go down as like the top Metacritic game ever made, and it's Sonic. Christian says, Mirrored Tactics. Yeah, Christopher says the best part of the direct was watching everyone's reactions to the Mario movie casting. Yeah, that was pretty much it.
So I've been watching why have I forgotten that word?
Compilations.
Thank you so much online of people doing the reactions to that. It's so funny.
My thing was like, I barely talked about it in my video. I was like, oh yeah, they talk about Mario shit. I hate movies in my video game presentations. Moving on. I didn't expect it to be such a big thing for people, but
Chris Pratt as Mario.
I mean,
did anyone watch Arlo's? I think Arlo had a heart attack.
He was laughing the whole time. Yeah. Demolition says triangle strategy should be called Salt Iron War based on the name of the war and the story it tells. There you go. Sean G says Plays showed a physical version of the Castlevania collection. Do you believe that is an actual product or was it a mistake, attention grab?
I think at the very least limited run will do something with it.
Oh yeah. Laxus says Voice of Cards demo is great. A turn-based JRPG in the form of cards, amazing sound design, and great music. Even has full touch control support. There you go, Sean.
Yeah, no thank you.
Console Gamer says great guest question. This is for Wood. GameCube or N64?
Oh, GameCube. Thank you for the guest question. I appreciate it. But hands down though, not even close. I love 64, but it's GameCube.
Nah, you can throw that 64 away. It's cool. I just think it's cool. Nintendo. We have it on the Switch now. What do you need that 64 for? I'm the one who got an Ultra HDMI. I soldered that thing in. I should be the one who's the saddest. I just think it's cool. Nintendo have all of its legacy consoles controllers on the Switch, minus Wii U. Do you think PS1 games will be on Nintendo Switch online? We know Sony don't believe in that generation.
I do. That's definitely it's not happening.
I don't think so either. Lotec says Bowser's voice is black and Toad's voice is black. Oh, Jack Black. Chris, no message. Rufflemut says, think the rabbits will be a reality in Splatoon 3?
So disappointed when you got the punchline.
Think the rabbits will be a reality in Splatoon 3. Rabbits.
No.
I was like, rabbits.
Because mammals are coming back. I don't think rabbits have anything.
Kevin says Ocarina of Time and Final Fantasy VII are two of the most influential games of the late 90s that define their genres. Which game is better overall?
What were the two choices?
Ocarina
of Final Fantasy VII. Ocarina of Time and
Ocarina, definitely.
Angelo says, got myself an ultimate GBA in the Misclicks theory for the second Bayonetta. Sounds like Devil May Cry 4 with Nero and Dante. And Chris, no message there. Donkey Kong fan will link talk if Nintendo made a Zelda movie. Probably, and everyone would be mad. Richard, no message there. Mr. Job says, will OJ be on the show today? He's actually going to be back, I think next week. I think he's back from his vacation next week. He's going to be, I believe, too many games, so that'll be fun too. But
yeah,
I think he's back next week. I think he's streaming tomorrow, like on his channel, I think. We'll see. Let's go to MVG. Where can everyone find you?
Thanks for having me on. You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and on YouTube at Modern Vintage Gamer.
Corey says, question for everyone. What Super Nintendo game do you wish would be remastered? Chrono Trigger.
Super Mario RPG.
It's a good one too. Strawman says, whatever those monsters were in the Bayonetta 3 trailer, they aren't demons or angels because the military could see them. You're a misclick.
Yep, exactly.
This is from X Trash Lost to PlayStation. Insightful,
there he is.
Insightful stuff. Action games don't sell on Switch. Best on PlayStation. Cope. they threw some commas in there to make sure we read it right. That's good.
Is Super Mario Odyssey not an action adventure game? Pretty sure it is, buddy.
Doesn't have a sword in it. It's not action.
I wouldn't say action.
He's got the hat throw, the big boss.
I think
battle.
what they were referring, they're obviously a troll, but I think they were referring to like Bayonetta and stuff like that. Hack and slash you.
Joel says Bayo doesn't sell like DMC since it's exclusive. And Devil May Cry wasn't a lot of systems technically.
Sure.
Misclick, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. You can find me here on YouTube as Misclick Gaming, or you can find me over on Twitch, where I'm live most of the time, as Misclick_live. Other than that, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, you can hear more voices from me, I guess, there when I'm live streaming. I do voices all the time, so when people are really surprised that I do them, just you're missing some stuff, I guess.
And let's go to Nate. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Nate the Hate. I'm sure MVG and myself will have a podcast in the coming week. And we have a podcast up right now discussing the Nintendo Direct and our reactions to it. And if you're looking for a blade to trim your nether regions, you can find our coupon code in that episode. Just because it's winter doesn't mean you should be a hairy mess.
Wait, are we getting money for this too?
They didn't pay you to plug it on here. It was a free plug.
I didn't give the code.
It's still got to watch the video to get the code, so that way he gets a little ad rev. Smart.
If you care about a smooth frame rate, you should care about a smooth below the belt rate.
Go on.
And this is
okay with Link having a voice.
Jordan. Want to let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on the YouTube channel Jordan Fringe. We're very close to 120,000 subs, so thank you very much.
Ooh.
And I'm starting to stream more on Twitch. I'm trying to, so yeah, it's just Jordan Fringe on there as well. Thanks for having me.
Okay, some last ones here. Strawman says Lappy in the Bayonetta 2 trailer was probably just a costume for Bayonetta, like the Link, Peach, and Star Fox costumes Bayonetta 2.
I would like that.
Dragon says, love that you mentioned Infinite Undiscovery, which was written by the creator of my favorite anime record of Lotus War. True they fixed the PS4 C-bomb issue. They did. Brendan said, MVG actually has a video on that. Yep. Brendan says, would you recommend Bayonetta 1 and 2 to someone who wasn't super in Astral Chain's action?
Yes.
Asking for
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they're different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's way better than Astral Chain.
Don't play Bayonetta if you live with your parents. Or
why?
Yeah.
Why?
It could be 18. I did look if when I lived with my parents, if the worst thing I did was play Bayonetta, they would be very happy campers.
Some of the stories you told us, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Still alive says, what's your final guesses for the final DLC characters of Smash? Also, what do you think Sakurai's final words to us will be at the end? We kind of talked a bit about that. Leave me alone. Yeah.
I don't want to think about
and
it.
Sora. Ross says, Sean, you're a national treasure. Meat of the week.
What did I eat this week? I'm kind of having to go through my fridge and eat like stuff that I just have had forever. So like a lot of frozen meals and weird hot pockets that I keep finding.
This is the man you're asking meat of the week.
Yeah. Well, I usually eat deli meat.
I remember when I had to convince you to buy other cheese other than mozzarella.
It's delicious.
What about provolone? Why aren't you getting the provolone?
I mean, it's good.
Pepper jack.
Cheddar, feta.
Ooh,
Cheddar.
feta.
I like a sharp cheddar.
Gouda.
It has to be sharp.
Gouda is Gouda's great. Nice glass of wine with some Gouda.
so
end of the day.
Asiago.
I don't drink
Got some
wine.
apple smoked cheddar upstairs.
Roy says, could we still use the N64 controller after the Switch Online is no longer available? Probably. Using random games.
Using Bayonetta 3.
Mark says it'd be funny if the N64 online play won't give you your own screen. Everyone will see the 2 to 3 4 multiplayer split screen. They probably will.
I think
It probably will.
I'm pretty sure
probably
that's what I
will.
was gonna make.
He's screen looking, yeah. Mac Mega says RGT proving MG wrong about rare games coming to N64 service. What timeline is this? This will carry over to his Metroid Prime prediction. Nope, the rare stuff is what he's right about. So now he's ready to be wrong about Metroid Prime.
I mean, you know what they say about a broken clock, right? Come on.
not wrong.
Beak says people are speculating about the N64 controller having the back accessory. I don't see a point. I'm sure it will have rumble memory as part of the system, and transfer pack will be pointless. It does have extra buttons, ZR. Yeah, I think rumble will be there. Sean says it's just because of Misclick's Toad RGT85 tonight. I was dying so good. Ethan says, can we just talk about Miyamoto's haircut?
Look dapper.
Hey.
There you go.
He looked very different, didn't he? He looked good, but he looked different.
He was pretty happy. I mean, think about it. He got to go make a theme park. Now he's making a movie out of a character that he created a while ago. Like, that's pretty impressive stuff.
Living the dream, man.
Spyro says, Nate, have you explained Rhode Island party pizza or party strips to the Spawncast since they're out of staters? They probably won't understand.
Don't.
Oh God.
I have not
this again.
explained
Okay.
pizza strips
Party pizza.
Okay.
It's party pizza. You pick up a box of pizza.
That's just a regular pizza.
No, you go to the bakery and you get strips.
Mm.
Oh,
Pizza
so it's
strips?
just
Like
breadsticks,
bacon
but
strips?
pizza.
No, it's a pizza strip. It's
Just breadsticks.
it's
with
just
pizza.
like it's just tomato sauce on the
Okay,
top.
you can
get
explain this
some
to me when I'm playing
cheese.
Halo Infinite. Bushido says, since we
You
aren't
really
getting
don't have bakery pizza.
Oh gosh. Since we aren't getting Mario Kart
Sean,
9
you know
this
what
generation,
bakery pizza is, don't you?
Yeah.
what do y'all think
Okay.
would make it worth the wait? Dread 3 million. I agree with that. Dread 3 million. Brendan says the game I'm most excited about of the original 9 is Star Fox 64. That game is so good that Nintendo has never surpassed it.
Never go
Yeah,
up.
and it's
Trust
cold.
your
The
instinct.
pizza strips are cold. It's not a
Ted,
hot pizza.
Ted Fool says Gunstar Heroes is one of the best games on the list, but it's already in so many other collections. Yeah. Laker says Sega CD games with Eternal Champions.
That's a good game.
Terminator with the soundtrack.
That is
Marky-
a damn good soundtrack.
Marky says thoughts on Review Tech USA's roasting of Dreamcast guy.
Unnecessary.
It
Yes.
was an unnecessary video.
Okay, there you go. Max is actually off tonight too. He was having some stuff he had to take care of too. So he'll be back next week. So ask him about it then. Rascal says, MVG, any news on Ski Sniper Game Builder Garage? Nate has been eager to review. Hate it and give it a 9 out of 10.
That game sucks. The game is terrible.
No, it's good.
No, it's not good. The fact that people bought it after talking about it that episode and they haven't bought Cruisin' Blast is just a damn shame.
You should just hate Cruisin' Blast and tell everyone it's a 9 out of 10.
But it's a 12 out of 10.
No, don't do that.
Jungle says, imagine Dreamcast on Nintendo Switch Online. Get on it, Sega. I agree. This is Jonathan saying, Nate the hate. I love Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Laker says, N64 DD games coming to Switch Online. Nah, that'd be too cool. Chubb says, waiting for Glover on N64 Online and Glover 2. Joel says, where was Smash 64 in the Mario parties? Maybe they'll do one Mario party in a Smash 64. That'd be cool.
They're coming.
Strawman says, do you think anything from N64 DD will be on Nintendo Switch Online? Yes, but only in Japan. They won't bring it here. Watch. Rascal says the Direct was really good in my opinion, but I gave it a B because where was any Metroid Prime at next year?
Yeah, they're not going to cannibalize.
We'll hear about it next year.
Good.
Yeah. Evan, where can everyone find you?
Find me on Twitter at Kimmerix Project or on Twitch. I usually announce when I'm going live though on Twitter, so you can just follow there for anything I'm doing.
And we have one here from Amano. And then Strawman says if we got the unreleased Star Fox 2 on Nintendo Switch Online, we could get unreleased N64 DD games too.
Ocean.
Il says, hi everyone, great show once again. What is a game that made you lose your mind and why? No Rumble Pack for the N64 controller though. I know Kana made Sean lose his mind. There you go.
I was gonna say
Ethan says like there's an invisible hyphen. Ethan Miguel says make Sean pronounce fiscal year.
Fiscal year.
Were you saying it funny in a video?
I always say it funny.
Oh. Dragoon says disappointed RG did not mention Mystical Ninja starring Goemon in his N64 video and that Nintendo have not added it to the collection.
That's
in time.
though.
In time. Still Alive says, I was wondering, even though we are getting rare games on Nintendo Switch Online, let's say things go your way between Nintendo and Microsoft. Could Nintendo theoretically just remove their games from that service? If so, yikes. Probably not. There's probably a deal in place, contracts, all that. Jacob says, game you want added to Nintendo Switch Online via N64 that hasn't been announced.
Wave Race.
Wave Race. Dragoon says, will the N64 collection have rewind feature? Yes. I think, right? Yeah.
Yep.
DPX Solo says, just finally ordered a PS5, not for scalper prices. What game or games do you suggest I get? Ratchet and Clank.
That's about it.
There you go. Deathloop's good. I like Deathloop. There you go. Just the ending wasn't great.
It'll be on sale Black Friday.
Brandon says last Smash character is Owada. Now I think Sakurai will probably say some words about Owada most likely in his final presentation. I have a feeling that would come up in some way. John says, do you think Nintendo feels obligated to make portable systems from now on after the success of the Switch? Also Billy Hatcher for Smash. Probably I think they're sticking with Switch. Yeah, they're good.
Or at least a family of systems, give people options.
Yeah. Nick says Miss Click is Nintendo leaning too much into nostalgia.
I mean, I think a lot of companies do in general. It's obviously a lot of movies getting remade. Disney does it too. So, yeah. I mean,
God is trying to get to Halo Infinite so bad.
Sorry.
They're doing a late night.
No, just keep talking. They even fucking send me my invitation. I don't care.
Yeah, I didn't get one either.
Did you check your spam folder or your promotions tab?
I checked everywhere. Someone gave me a Steam code, then I tried it and it didn't work either.
I told you. You didn't sign up before the 13th.
Look,
we told you.
It's fine. I played it. It's all right.
Shut up, Evan.
You're a liar. Do we like Miyamoto's Hollywood hair? We do. Jonathan says, Nate the Hate, I love Turok Dinosaur Hunter. There you go. Ross says, I will bang this drum. Kiru and her from Yakuza for Smash. Very popular Japanese characters from the current biggest Sega franchise.
Turok 64 is a good game.
Anthony says, I think they will have a final character for DLC and then Waluigi is a free one like Piranha Plant. Matthew says, has anyone been playing Eastward? I'm trying to, but just like so much stuff is coming out. I'm about 13 hours or so into it and I'm absolutely loving it. Also, love to see you on here, Wood.
Oh, hi. Thank you.
Anthony says, will we get a new Mario Strikers? And if so, when? Probably not, because Nintendo, that would make me happy. Swag says, Balan Wonderworld character for Final Smash would break the internet for the wrong reason. Proto says, RGC, have you been playing Power Rangers Battle for Grid with different DLC seasons? Keep up the great work, everyone.
Not yet. I want to get the one with Rita, though. I think that's pretty dope.
Yeah. Griefing Rob Robot says, what other rare games aren't coming to Nintendo Switch Online? MVG. Say GoldenEye.
Probably GoldenEye.
There we go. We'll see what happens next month. Stormwatch Eagle says, I know they played it off like no big deal in the direct, which was cool, but they added same-sex marriage to Rune Factory 5, which is pretty neat. This is from R. Fogo, says, if you pre-order a physical game that releases after the digital version, Disco Elysium, you should receive a download code upon the digital release. Josh says, what's everyone's thoughts on the chance of an NFL game ever coming to Switch? Very slim, because
you got Mutant Football League and it has like bomb.
I think he means NFL branded specifically.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah. Console
you
says
can kill the quarterback in it. So,
have any of you ever visited Ireland? Just curious. I've not.
My nan's from there, but
I want to.
Steven says, do you think it will be the N64 version or remastered HD version of Banjo-Kazooie?
N64.
N64. DJ says, oh my God, it's freaking Wood. Hi, Wood.
Oh, hi.
Christian says, should I play Metroid Prime Trilogy or wait and hope for a remake? Wait and hope for a remake. It's coming.
Yes. Wait for the remake.
It's coming. Georgie says World's Edge does the exact same thing. With Age of Empires 4 and Halo Wars 2 was developed by Sega. Should we be asking how long Crystal has under Square? Jared says, should I play Ocarina of Time on Switch or 3DS? Oh, that's a good question. We'll have to see. We'll see how N64 emulation turns out on the Switch first. Ross says, I think would had a bot randomly select for him to buy the first YouTuber's Life game. How that game has a sequel is beyond me.
That was a fun game.
Josh says, love your content. I just beat Marvel Spider-Man earlier today, and I think it's one of my favorites. Thoughts on Spider-Man 2018, 3 years later? It's still very good. Yeah, the remaster is awesome on the PS5 too.
Face change is still stupid, but
the face change is really weird. Yeah,
I preferred it.
That ruined it.
This is from Bongo. Bongo says, RGT, I call my mom an errand lady and I'm homeless now.
Hey, stick to your guns.
Joe says, what is everyone's opinion on Diablo 2 Resurrected? I have not played it yet.
I actually am playing it for the first time. Never played that game before.
You like it?
Yeah. I don't love the art style, but yeah, it's good.
Okay. Still not playing Activision games until they actually bring about change. I'm actually...
Agree.
Yeah, Wood, you piece of shit. You fucking playing the Activision games?
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about who made it, to be honest.
This is
I will never play it again. I promise.
you already own it.
They got your money, buddy.
It looks awful. It plays awful. I can't believe it.
Playing Vanguard next on Twitch.
This is from Carb Gaming says, the initiative said at the beginning they intended to be small and agile. This was likely the plan from the beginning. George says 13 handcrafted maps and 8 forge maps were found in Halo Infinite beta files. Your thoughts, John? Also, is Halo DOA if it doesn't have a BR? Oh, Battle Royale.
Battle Royale? No.
Nah, we don't need Battle Royale for Halo. That's
3 years ago.
It could.
Truly Epic says Jordan needs to reveal which album he liked more. The people deserve to know.
Nah.
This is from Sylvester saying, don't worry guys, we'll get to Toe Jam and Earl for Smash.
What?
Toe Jam and
About time.
I'd be good with that.
Jeff Crumb said, hey, can everyone give me 500 words on your thoughts on filibuster?
Yes.
No.
So
the party pizza strips of Rhode
Joshua says, with the partnership between Nintendo and Microsoft, do you think we see ever Combat Evolve on Switch? Maybe. Halo would be interesting to see drop on the Switch.
Very often.
Sean, what's your favorite Castlevania game? Gustavo wants to know.
I would say Dawn of Sorrow. I absolutely love that game.
What about Order of Ecclesia?
I like Dawn of Sorrow.
Richard says, this question is for Wood. What do you think about Australians have a nuclear self since the US hooked them up?
What?
Oh, they got nuclear subs in Australia.
They said self. It says nuclear self.
What am I even
very
introverted
of them?
Are you nuclear?
There's a nuclear self there.
Cool.
Who could have seen the plot twist at the end of Quest 64? Did anyone get to the end of Quest 64?
I never finished that stupid
You
game.
find out his name isn't actually Brian.
Yeah, he found out his real name.
Okay, because I think they spoil it here at the end. Dark Types says Chris Pratt is Mario. I cannot stress how hard I was laughing when I saw that. And Marky says I'm on the Melbourne bitter cans. Ashton says, what is my favorite? Because it lives in Texas. There you go. And Chris, no message here. Chief Adam says, do you think Nintendo will make a new Smash game? And if they do, how they top Smash Ultimate? That's tough. I don't know if they'll make one. I think they might just port this one around for a while. I think they're good.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Yeah.
I got everyone right. Everyone did their outro, right? We're all good.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just busy uninstalling Diablo 2. So
thanks, Chris, for becoming a member. Appreciate you, Chris. Thanks for coming a member. And that is going to do it here tonight. Thanks everyone for joining us. Spawncast. I have about 40 minutes of Halo Infinite play, so we're good to go. We'll see you guys next weekend.
bye.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
Hey,